it only took me like 300 stones to pull Gogeta, so I did get him during the anniversary, which was good.
Nice.
I quite like the unit a lot. I think he's really good. I basically like the team that I've been running on JP just for everything is basically like the superheroes team, and obviously he's like a staple on the team. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really I don't think that in terms of just like
the podcast died.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the stream just ended. I currently have it up and it literally just stopped for me. So
Ningen, are you here?
That's weird. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Oh yeah, I see that.
It has reset though. Apparently it is back on, but now I'm gonna have to change all the settings.
It's not back on because it's now it's ended as a video.
Yeah, no, it's back with
Oh,
like a
now
different...
it
Yeah.
Oh, it's back with a different thumbnail. Yeah, it's got the Streamlabs like default thumbnail.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to change it. So, but yeah, it should be live again now. But yeah, I've just got to change all the description and thumbnail and stuff.
Hello, chat.
Hello, chat. We're back.
Okay.
That's weird. Maybe your internet just dropped for like a split second.
Yeah,
or
maybe.
Something, or it was just YouTube. I don't know. YouTube's a funny website.
Sometimes it's silly. Okay. We should be back though. 1 second.
Yeah, I think we're good.
I heard you guys I saw someone in chat say that they try to use the Gogeta taunt skill against the Golden Frieza fight. I believe the final phase of the Golden Frieza fight does disable dodge.
Yep.
So if you used it in the final phase against the STR Golden Frieza that has the countdown, then it's not going to dodge because of the fact that Golden Frieza disables dodge. That's the one thing about that taunt skill is, at least in GP, there is the Blue Evolution Vegeta fight that does disable dodge too. So that's a thing. But that may be why it did not work for you specifically, if that's what you're trying to do. But no, I guess we could just continue from here, Mr. Baby. How your experiences with Gogeta specifically.
So, I don't know if this would be considered a hot take, but after using both of them, I feel like Gogeta. I mean, Movie Heroes is obviously just a better team than Super Bosses, right? So the experience with playing on the Movie Heroes team with Gogeta, I feel like, at least when Gogeta's in his Super Saiyan state, for me at 55%, I feel like he's kind of just underwhelming as an anniversary character. I think a lot of his value in his Super Saiyan state does come from, of course, the guard and the rainbow orb changing. Like if you're on, let's say, the Super Saiyans team that has a lot of characters who are super key hungry, that comes in extremely clutch. But of course, like when you transform with Gogeta, then he just becomes an absolute monster. And I have no issues whatsoever. And I do try to keep Gogeta on rotation to try and stack defense as much as possible. But I do feel like defensively, just a little bit, not super underwhelming, but a little bit underwhelming. And then I'm just comparing it to like Broly, who Super Bosses is just not the greatest team compared to Movie Heroes, but Broly, dude, is like putting up 22 mil attack stats and like 14, mil attack stat additionals, like 5 of them. Like he's literally just a complete, to me, he's like a complete different animal compared to what Gogeta is giving me. But I think that kind of sort of evens out with the taunt ability. Like I've been able to, I guess, save myself a little bit in either some fights that I'm testing out in, or just having fun. Like sometimes I'll like to hop into just longer events, like let's say the Legendary Frieza event, and just test out what the team looks like, and being able to taunt and dodge absolutely everything and then just massacre him in like one hit is just so fun. So again, just as Super Saiyan, I feel like he's low-key a little underwhelming. I don't know if that's a hot take or not. At least comparing it to what I'm experiencing with Broly,
I would
at least.
say
I don't know.
no, because I think the one thing you also do need to consider is Broly's base form is also kind of weak as well. I feel like their base forms were never really the allure of the characters, right? I mean, you can see Broly as a damage dealer in his base form, he can't crit, right? So if you have him 55%, he can do all these additional super attacks, but then like crit adds so much damage value to
For
the
sure, yeah.
characters, and so many of these damage characters have crit built in now that you feel it when a character doesn't have it built in, right? And then same with Gogeta, right? He's nothing, like I said, in terms of his stats, especially in Super Saiyan, his pure stats are not the reason why he's as good as he is. It's because of so much of the utility he brings. But no,
Yeah.
I definitely agree with your point in the base forms, like, or the pre-transformed states like Super Saiyans, Gogeta, and Super Saiyan Broly are not anything special, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where someone like Beast Gohan comes out, and from turn one, he's that guy already, and that could lead to a difference, especially in the era of shorter content coming out again, where you really want these characters to be super strong starting off in the fight. And I think that's kind of still the era Global is in, because a lot of the content you guys still have is still mostly short content. And again, when you guys eventually get the Beast Gohan fight, the Blue Gogeta fight, sort of Hope Trunks fight, like these 3, 4, 5 phase fights, and then you'll get to see more of these characters' transformations. Maybe things could change a little in how you feel about the characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Broly's like, I think the only reason why, if we're talking about ranking, why I would have Gogeta above Broly is just because Broly is turn 5 and Gogeta is turn 4, and then Gogeta has the ability to help the rest of the team without any potential negatives. I think is pretty huge for me in terms of how I rate characters, because so many of these characters now have team protection abilities, multi-turn support, or support in general, right? Revive skills, like these abilities to help the team out overall. While Broly, he can just delete these bosses. I like to call it. I like to say like Broly could just delete these bosses, right? He just like could
Yeah.
one turn them. That maybe depends on him getting some crits off, or that depends on how your rotations start up. If your Broly's in slot 7, man, you're not gonna see that guy transform. It's an issue. So I think that's like the reasons why I would say, while I really like Broly, and I would say Broly's probably still, he might be the most fun character to use in the game even now, at least in my opinion for GP. It takes a little bit for him to actually get to that state, right? But yeah, and Gogeta, to be fair, you could see the same thing because his transformation is also turn 4 from his entrance turn, not turn 4 from the start of battle. It's just a little interesting to see, that end up being a thing. But regardless, both are very fun and both are very, very good characters.
Yeah.
Before we move on, is there anything else anyone here wanted to say about these two?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I just want to.
Oh no, go ahead.
Are you
Mr.
good? I was gonna say real quick. I think something that I don't really hear many people talking about, which is like just be a me thing. When the domain for Broly activates, I think that 4 key is like, especially on a team like, let's say transformation boost. Transformation boost, I think specifically transformation boost or even Super Saiyans. Again, you have a lot of key hungry characters. That when I run that team, like I've tried the rotation of Broly and Gogeta together because they do share like 4 links or something, so it's not too bad, including prepare for battle. So you do have some key links there, but the entire team is eating.
I would say,
sorry, super bosses.
yeah, because with Super
bad,
Saiyans, like
Yeah.
extreme
It's
class.
the extreme class. Yeah. My bad. So when you're running again, Broly, even something like Broly Trio, of course, they don't have their easy A yet, but it's a lot easier to see and get these characters up to their 18 keys or whatever the case is, and have these characters look a lot better. No, yeah, I do remember. I tried the domain on, and then I realized that Gogeta was not getting that key, and then I realized it was just extreme class there too. But
one thing that is
still,
good for that is like running that Tech Vegeta Super Saiyan team, because you got like both the Tech Vegetas, Broly, and then King Vegeta are all extreme. And King Vegeta is a really good banner unit anyway, so the fact that he then is getting buffed by Broly's domain as well, I think he still holds up really well, that King Vegeta banner unit. So
which is pretty good. I would say I do like that support as well, but I that's why I said specifically support that doesn't also potentially hurt the team, because keep in mind the domain also does buff enemies, and then you also receive more damage from super class enemies too. So or is it super class
that's
allies
fair.
take more damage, something like that, right? Where you can potentially receive more damage, and
sure.
I think that the trade-off overall is worth it, especially if running full extreme class anyways, like on super bosses, less transformation boost. You can make some really good teams with Broly's team still. I think that there could be a potential negative as well. But again, like that 4 key, something that people don't really talk about. I think that 4 key is pretty good. It's very, very
It's
useful.
I just feel like it's huge.
Yeah.
For the entire team. I just the way everyone can just benefit off of that. I understand though, because the thing with domain, I think domain is a really cool concept, but it does inadvertently benefit like the bosses too, right? So, but I mean, like if you're, let's say you're running a rotation, let's say on super bosses, you're running like the tech merge Zamasu rotation with the AGL Zamasu or whatever. Like just seeing those guys already have so much key, I think it helps the cohesiveness of the team. So he's kind of like a super boss's support, but not really a support, you know. So yeah, we just need more super bosses. But
plus, yeah, I mean, at least that is the
overall,
thing. Yeah, with the anniversary content, is obviously we've started to get those like the blue zone stages now, and more of those will be coming out. So, you know, when you're using them against super class bosses, then it's not as bad. But yeah, it's one of those things with the domain, like Broly. That's the thing where we haven't said much about Broly in particular, but yeah, I still find Broly to be absolutely ridiculous. I agree with what Minato was saying. Like, I think he might be one of the most fun units.
absolutely.
Like, I think for me, I like units like Broly, and I do have a bit of a bias, I guess, for like Extreme, and I like, maybe it's part of that bias coming from being the day one Rose defender, but like I really like Super Bosses as a team now. I actually think Super Bosses is probably better than Movie Bosses currently on Global, because we have Broly, Rose, Golden Frieza, like in some of these endgame events like Kid Buu. I think that the Super Bosses team is probably better than Movie Bosses. Maybe in some situations, maybe not. But yeah, like
I would say JP bosses.
yeah, I
100%.
mean the because obviously both of them get buffed. I mean, as soon as Beast comes out, then obviously like movie heroes and superheroes just becomes that insane team. But the thing about Broly that I still really love is, I think I did it in the video that I did for today with like using Gogeta on Broly's team, but like getting the rotation set up where you just get both the Brolys together and then transform one of them. And then like I think I had the rotation where it's like physical Goku Black in slot 3, so he's giving them extra defense as well. And then yeah, like the Rainbow Broly friend was the one that I transformed. So then in slot 1, he did like, I think it was like almost 90 million attack stat worth of supers in that turn, because I think he supered like 5 times or something. And so yeah, it was against that God Goku event, so of course he does take less damage. But between the two Brolys, they just killed him, because even though he's taking that reduced damage, they do so much damage between the two of them. And I've always liked units like that, right? Like when STR LR Cooler came out for Worldwide, like he was my favorite unit in the game. Like I've always been a big fan of the big damage boys. So yeah, I'm very much enjoying using Broly. It's just one of those things, as we've said, like his team, we need those couple of extra pieces, right? Like we get the Broly trio Easy A soon. Ideally, you want to have Golden Frieza. And then, of course, you know, in the future, we're going to get like Cell Max, which really ties that like Super Bosses team together. But yeah, I'm definitely really enjoying Broly. And I know, Theo, you said before we started, obviously you didn't actually pull Broly during the anniversary, but you've got him now. So what are your thoughts now, considering what, you know, options? Because I think, did you get Cell Max? So
I did.
Yeah, so how are you
Cell
enjoying
Max
Broly now,
pretty
considering how
easily.
good Super Bosses is on JP?
Very, very much so. Like, it's kind of funny because he was the unit that, ironically enough, I went the most stones for on
Really?
like the initial anniversary. Yeah, he was basically I think it was like well over 2,000 without a copy of him, if I'm remembering that correctly. I'll double check real quick. But it was pretty bad. And so I was just like, well, I think like I kept going for him like after I got Gohan. Like it was that bad. But regardless though, now that I have him on JP, obviously I used him as a friend. 2,100 stones was what I did for Broly. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
It was that many. And I only got Beast from the 77 ticket multi too. I went like over 1,000 stones for him too. But either way though, yeah. What's funny is that like I was gonna say well before, I actually like agree with what Mr. Baby was saying, which is funny. I don't know if that's necessarily like a hot take. Even without having Broly as like the actual like character on my team and just using him as a friend, I was always definitely more like, I kind of prefer Broly over Gogeta, ironically enough. I just think that he's like better. Because obviously, like, what most people focus on is a transformation of the characters, but like you have the regular character out longer than you do the transformation for most people, or for most characters anyway, I should say. But regardless though, I really enjoy Broly. I think he's very, very cool. I actually got to go back finally because I was like, I'm gonna save the red zone like movie bosses mission and then the super bosses mission on the blue zone. And I didn't do those missions until like just now, basically, like when I got Broly from the coins. Because of the fact that I was like, I'm gonna save it for Broly. I was like, I could probably do it with Cell Max and just like make it work. But running him on those events now, he's just so good. Like I was just sitting there watching him just like throw out all of these, like super high stat.
That's exactly how I reacted to. Yeah.
Right. It's just like you just watch him go and you're just like, dude, this is absolutely ridiculous. It's like I feel like what I'm not watching is like real. Like I feel like I'm watching like an edit or something like that. He's super crazy. I think easily at the 55% mark as well, because obviously I tried him out at both, and even now, my Gogeta is still only 55%, and I tried Broly out at 55 before I actually bought another dupe with the coins. And I think Broly's just way more impressive than Gogeta at that 55%. Maybe not blue Gogeta, right? But I think definitely Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Funny enough, I think I kind of agree with all of you guys, which is kind of funny that, Mr. Gohan Beast saying this, but like genuinely, I think that Broly might be the most fun out of the like 4 characters from the anniversary, because like Gohan is amazing and I love Gohan. Like I'm so happy that he's like just the absolutely disgusting beast. funny that he is, right? But he is quite literally just like, he doesn't take damage and he whips out high numbers. Like, it's very like I don't want to say like basic, but I guess, right? Like I guess it's just basically his like what he does and his mechanics are very simple in the way that he operates, right? Where I feel like Broly is maybe just a little bit more like interesting in terms of the way that he works, I suppose. But yeah, no, I think he's super fun. And not to mention, like, right, it's just so nice to finally have a new DBS Broly, considering the fact that, the last one technically was the STR one, but he doesn't count because he's a stinky gamer. The Fizz one, right, was the last one, which was like, I think it was something like 5 or 6 years or something like that. Which
that's crazy.
Crazy to say, but it's like something wild like that before we've seen a new DBS Broly. So it's really, really nice that they made this guy super powerful. And I'm glad that they also made him the Dokkan Fest, honestly, because we have so many like Dokkan Fest Gogetas, even of like DBS Gogeta, that I think it's nice that they gave it to Broly for making him the big boy unit. And not to mention, as well, I still think, of course, being the funny animation man, I still think that Broly is when he came out, like, cleared like best animations in the game easily. I have to go and like really dissect and think about it. Who I would think is like better, if anyone has come out since then, because there are a couple of characters who have had some really stellar animations this year for sure, but like he's still easily up there as some of the best, if not the best,
I'd agree,
in the game, which is really, really cool to see.
Like
So,
on
and
global,
it helps that the Broly movie itself is so beautiful,
Yeah.
And speaking of the movie, I would say real quick, I would just say that when I'm playing with Broly, I feel like I'm just watching like the movie, because in the movie, Broly's like all these Broly, whether it's Z Broly or Super Broly, you see these characters as like these just behemoths who just won't stop. Like they're constantly just barraging you with attacks. So now when I'm playing with AGO Broly in game, he just doesn't care about what he just continues to attack. It's like I don't know. It makes me feel like I'm watching. I don't know. It's a different feeling that I get playing with Broly than I do with Gogeta. At least I don't know. Maybe it's my bias towards that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like you feel that level
I
of
agree.
power. Like I said, like he does another super attack, and then it's like, and now he's doing another one. And now he's doing another one. And then, like I said before, it's like you end up, if you add all of those together, like I say, you get a rotation where he does like 90 million worth of attack stat in one turn. And like with his transformed state, even without hidden potential, he has like 54% chance to crit. So like the amount of damage that he does is just absolutely ridiculous. And of course, by having guard, by getting defense on each of those supers, like he's actually able to sort of back it up defensively. At least, maybe not up against some of the hardest hitting supers in the game, but like once he gets all of those attacks off, you don't really have to worry about him, which I just think he's one of those like just very, very fun characters to use.
I think when Broly first came out, I liked better than Gogeta because you just one shot all the bosses, and it's like, well, you can't lose, right? If you plan it correctly and you got the double Broly rotation, it was like unstoppable. But as more and more hard content comes out, I think I don't know. I started feeling I liked Gogeta more. But I think Broly, in terms of his overall stats and his like solo performance specifically, like if we're just focusing on the unit himself, is a better character, just because he's just doing so much, the boss. But again, it's a thing where, at least with how I personally rank my units, I just like considering what else they do besides their damage and their defense purely.
Which is what you have to do, I think, to be fair, right?
Yeah.
I think we're just talking more so from like an enjoyment.
Especially enjoyment perspective.
Like
like I said, I think he's the most fun character of the game still.
Even in Super Saiyan form, when I'm playing with Broly, it's like since he's stacking on both 12 and 18, every single time he attacks, I'm just getting excited for when I get to transform him, because like I want to get as many attacks in as possible, right? But I don't get that same like enjoyment feel. I'm just waiting for Gogeta to hit turn 4 so we can transform and have fun,
Yeah, exactly. I get that completely. I got my second duo Broly today, so I'm actually going to use them after the podcast.
Nice.
Flexing on chat is crazy, man.
Look, I'm just going to say I got them for my free-to-play tickets during Tanabata.
It is funny to think, right, the fact that with JP, because obviously the Tanabata banner, like, to just go into an aside, because we'll talk about JP stuff in a bit, I'm sure, but it's funny because obviously both the Dokkan Fests return. So, of course, Broly is out on Global now, but it means that Beast has returned on JP for the first time and is not out on Global at all yet, still, because he doesn't come out until part 2.
Which is kind of funny, yeah.
It's wild.
It is a little silly. It's gonna be interesting. I think when part 2 like releases, because I know I've seen some very interesting. I don't want to get into it too much, obviously, but I've seen some very like interesting discourse on the TL about like, people talking about like the fact that it's such a weird feeling because it kind of feels like some people are almost feeling like it's a waste to summon on the part 1 when they know that the beast is coming, and a lot of people have obviously just been saying like, oh, you just shouldn't summon and you should just wait. It's very interesting because it's like, as somebody who's been through the entire thing already at this point, with obviously like having played through the anniversary already, and even with Gohan, being like my favorite character, obviously out of them, I think it's an interesting thing because it is kind of like a bit of a duality in terms of like the aspect of like, well, you want the unit and also the I guess like using your resources the best that you can possibly use them, and also the fun factor. Like I feel like taking all those things into consideration, it's kind of interesting trying to like figure out the way to navigate it, because it's like technically well, granted, it is also a little bit different on global because they have like the guaranteed step right at the end. Which granted, it does take quite a few stones to get there, right? It's not as simple as the usual
it's
step
like
up stick.
255 to do the full rotation.
Right, to do the full thing, which is not like, that's not anything shabby for sure. But I don't know, because obviously it's like in part 2, right? If you want to, you could always just play it as well. You use all your stones to get Gohan, and then if you want the Gammas, you get them, and then you can just go back in on the Broly and Gogeta banners. But obviously by that time, the discounts will be gone on Broly and Gogeta. But you'll also have the 77 ticket summon, which will be, something that you'll be able to do. So if you get Gohan with your stones, then you can obviously use that on Broly or Gogeta if you want one of those units, and then hopefully you would get them on there. Because that's like, isn't that like something like around 250 stones? I know it's not exactly, but like the way that the math adds up for how many multis that is or something.
Well, yeah, because it's 77 units, isn't it? So it's almost
it's
8
77
multis,
units.
which like
yeah,
without any discounts or anything would be like 400 stones.
Something like that. Sorry, I'm really bad at math.
But I mean, like, even if you consider the global step ups, like the 255 is for like 7 multis, so it's like the equivalent of that plus another 7 characters. So it is definitely very good.
Exactly. Right. So it's like, it's very interesting because I understand like why people are, like why there's so much like back and forth about it, because it's like, I think both quote unquote sides, right, like definitely have some good points, about it, because logistically speaking, you can use your stones in a way that would technically be more beneficial if you want to prioritize Gohan. However, I don't think that like summoning on the part 1 banners is a waste whatsoever, because right, that's like super downplaying like Broly and Gogeta themselves, right? Because obviously just the 2 of them alone are really, really good. Not to mention, right, the Dokkan Fest banner for Broly's banner is still pretty good, right? Obviously, you still have some really good units on there. And obviously, you have some units that, like the Blue Boys get their Easy A, right? Obviously, the Gods will be getting their Easy A technically at the beginning of next year, which is kind of crazy to think about, right? The Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Vegeta are good. Obviously, Zamasu's still good. Golden Frieza himself. We ain't even going to talk about Gogeta's banner because, Riku's on the banner.
I think the Broly trio are on there, right? Which is
I was going to say, the Broly
like
trio are on there, which they're good. And obviously, Trunks is still running himself, right? And I know Gohan also has some uses. But
dude, Trunks,
funny enough, I've never really been a fan of him, but I mean, you can still get away with using him for sure.
You can, but he is like the definition of a unit that is just like disappointing, right? Like when he looks good, like he can still look pretty good, but like the number of times I'll take him into like a team, like for example when we're saying about using the Super Saiyan team, I used to like running Future Gohan on that team with the Super Saiyans, but obviously I want to be able to use Broly's domain because I want to transform him. So I don't want Future Gohan like potentially getting in the way. So I put Trunks on the team instead. And the number of times you get like he does 1 super and then like 3 additional normals and then just gets absolutely like battered by normal attacks. It's like, bruh. But then on the turns where he does like 4 supers, like he can look pretty decent. And then when you actually get like the Sword of Hope like standby, he can do some like, he's doing like 12, 13 million attack stats. Like he can look good, but oh my, I swear like most of the time I use him, he just looks so disappointing. It's a real shame. But anyway, random aside, but yeah, Trunks.
Yeah. Nah, I think honestly that's like exactly how I feel in my experience, because funny enough I don't have him on JP, but I didn't summon for him at all because I was a day 1 hater of this man, so it's good to see my hate was justified. But like when I used them as a friend just to like try him out a little bit, and I
Mhm.
think that I would 100% agree with you. It's like when he cooks, but the rest of the time it's just like, nah, is not him.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, to be fair, he's certainly better than other options on some of the teams that he's on, right? Like if you need just like that sixth unit that you're like, man, I don't know who to run. He's like a decent option for that, I guess. But either way, though, obviously the carnival banners are the carnival banners, so they will be what they are.
Yeah.
But regardless, though, the whole point of it is I think that using your stones on part 1 is certainly not a bad decision whatsoever. Like, I mean, obviously you want to save stones for Gohan Beast because he's just him, and he just like destroys any content in the game. But I do think as well, one other thing to consider, right, especially with Broly, and this will be the last thing I say about this before we move on, is that I think Broly is really valuable for missions specifically. If you're somebody who really values missions, and because I know it's kind of an interesting thing when it comes to missions in Dokkan, because people value them really high, but it's kind of the ironic thing about Dokkan where it's like, well, you're going in hundreds and potentially thousands of stones to get a character to do a mission where you're gonna get 5 stones. Wow. Like it's a little silly in thinking about it in that regard, but obviously it's that sort of like completionist mentality where you're like, well, I want to do all the missions because it's like part of the game, right? And that's like quote unquote like beating the stage or whatever, is doing all the missions. And I think Broly honestly is one of the most beneficial characters for these missions because he is so important to be able to beat these super bosses and the movie bosses missions, right? You can beat like the missions where you could use Gogeta without him, right? Like I don't think that you need him to beat those missions necessarily. But with Broly, I feel like he's a lot more of a necessity. At least that's the experience that I've had. Again, considering that I haven't had him until this point, and I literally just beat these missions now because I didn't have Broly on the team, because I didn't even have him on my account. So I think in that regard, if you're somebody who values that sort of thing, Broly is a character that you definitely want to snag because he will be imperative for you actually completing those missions. So that is one thing that I would definitely recommend if you are somebody who really likes beating those missions, because I think that he's maybe even the most important in terms of beating the missions. I don't know. There's probably some that I think you could argue the others maybe, but in terms of obviously like that specifically, Broly is literally him for that specifically. So, I think in that regard, he has a lot of value for me personally. But yeah, I don't think that if you used your stones on part 1 and you used a lot of your stones, I don't think that you should, feel bad about it or feel like you wasted them or anything, because obviously the characters are fantastic and they're really, really good. And not to mention, bro, just don't let other people influence your enjoyment of the game, bro. Don't let somebody tell you that you're wasting your resources if you're enjoying yourself and you like the characters that you got, right? Don't let some random on Twitter ruin your day.
I mean, the
Just
thing
have
is,
fun.
I was quite surprised because obviously, a lot of people have been saying, right, save for Beast, like, not just throughout the year with all the other banners, but even when it comes to like part 1. But like when I did my stream, like on the day the banners came out, obviously, those days are always good, like lots of bigger numbers, lots of people in the stream. And I put up a poll, like, while we're waiting for the banner to come out. And it was like, who are you summoning for first? Broly, Gogeta, or I'm saving for part 2? And like, I'm saving for part 2 was like 10% of the vote. Like, people were excited to summon for the part 1 characters. And like, they are super fun to use. So yeah, it's definitely interesting to see.
And I have to, unfortunately, this hurts my soul to save it, or to say it rather. Sorry, we're talking about saving so much it's affecting my brain. This hurts my soul to say this, being the resident superhero fanboy, but especially considering the popularity of DBS Broly over the popularity of superhero, even in just that regard, it does not surprise me that the part 1 units are infinitely more popular because they're from the way more popular movie. They're from the thing that was way more popular. The like movie sales numbers between Broly and Superhero should reflect that.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, this is crazy to think about. I guarantee you that there are some people who didn't even know that Superhero came out until Dokkan dropped Gohan Beast in the Gammas, and they were like, what is this? Like, I promise you that happened, because the discrepancy between the numbers of Broly and Superhero is actually astronomical.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because the marketing was just so bad for Superhero, unfortunately. Breakers got better marketing than Superhero did, which is crazy to think about.
And then look what they were doing with Daima compared to Sparking Zero.
Right. Like, yeah, Sparking Zero is like, the marketing is insane. And for Dragon Ball Daima, I mean, like, it's been better marketing for Superhero, I think, but it's still not great, to be honest. So, you know, either way, though, I think even just in that regard, and of course, you know, I mean, it's Gogeta and Broly, like two of the most popular like Dragon Ball characters of all time, and obviously they're just like DBS versions of them. So I think in that regard, it's not, you know, too surprising to, you know, think that people are really going to be this excited for these characters, because obviously, you know, they're from one of the most popular Dragon Ball things of all time, which is DBS Broly. So I don't know. I do think that it's cool, because it's like, even though, of course, I keep, you know, I sound like a broken record of being the man who loves Beast. I think it's nice to see that people are still summoning on part 1, especially considering all this time that people have been, you know, like, I don't know. I don't want to say whining, because that sounds like mean, but like people, you know, have been like, oh, say for part 2, like they be thinking that no one's gonna be summoning on part 1. Come on now.
I mean, it's just the thing is, like, regardless of the marketing and stuff like that, and like, you know, there are people who, I imagine, like, there's obviously us, the people watching and listening, who have seen both the movies and probably like both of them, regardless which one is your favorite. It's just the fact that the Broly movie is still like very much enjoyed, like it still holds up. Like we watched we had a Discord like watch party for it before the anniversary officially started, and it was the first time I'd watched it in, I don't know, I'd probably say a year, maybe more. And like, yeah, that movie just still looks so good. Like, you got all the story stuff at the beginning, which, you know, once you've watched it multiple times, like, I'm not gonna lie, there has been the odd occasion where I've put that movie on and just skipped the first 45 minutes. But like, you get to the end and it's just like that non-stop, like last 45 minutes or so of the movie, where it's just all out, like, crazy action. The animation is awesome, and as we've said already, like, the animations are reflected really well in the units. So yeah, it's not surprising that people are hyped for the part 1 characters, even knowing that Beast in part 2 is, like, you know, technically the better unit. But yeah, people still love the Broly movie, and it's still good, so it's not surprising, I guess, overall.
Yeah,
huge W.
Definitely a huge W, right? Hopefully that Daima, you know, picks up in the marketing, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Oh, I will say the only last thing I will say is, man, we still don't have a standalone Blue Gogeta. That's crazy. That's all I want to say.
Yeah.
I mean, one day it'll happen, I guess, but the thing is that people love these transformations and how they work, right? So makes sense there.
Bro, we have like 3 standalone Vegito Blues. How do we not have a standalone Vegito Blue?
I mean, all those Vegito Blues were like from 2018 and before. So
that's true, I guess. I don't know. It's still very good.
Because the last standalone Vegito Blue was the free-to-play Vegito Blue. And before that, Tech VB, didn't he not come out in 2017 still?
Yeah, it was something like that.
I think it was 2018, right?
One of the two, yeah.
Tech LR.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that is a fair point, right? That all those guys are like pretty old. I don't know. It is kind of funny that they don't like doing standalone like of characters who can transform.
December 2017 was
but
crazy.
when did Vegito Blue first air?
The episode where he fights?
No, the year.
Let me see.
The year. Yeah.
No, that's what I mean. I gotta remember
for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's gotta be like 2016 or 15.
So within a year and a half, Dokkan had 3 standalone Vegito Blues, and it's been 4 years or 5 years actually since Superhero, and we've gotten 0.
You mean
standalone
Gogeta? Yeah.
Well,
sorry, for Gogeta. Yeah.
One difference is that
that's insane to me, at least.
Yeah.
So I would say that I guess one difference is that obviously Vegito didn't fight in his base form, right?
Yeah, true.
So it's like that's where they had just the standalone Vegeta Blues, and the transformation mechanic did not come out until after all those Vegeta Blues released, right? Because transformation mechanic was the 3rd-year anniversary, and I guess I think free-to-play Alarm Vegeta Blue was probably out after the anniversary, but Tech VB came out before the transformation mechanic was even a thing, right?
Yeah.
So like that's a thing.
That is fair. I feel like it's too once that mechanic came out and they realized how like marketable that was. I think they were definitely like, well, we can't just not make the character transform because I mean, like you know, transformations are like
transformations
half of modern Dragon Ball's hype.
Real quick in chat, Justin said, "I don't get why people are so focused on standalone final transformation units." I'm gonna say really quickly the reason why. Number one, I don't know if you guys remember when STR UI Goku came out. He was for some reason just one of the most enjoyable characters I have ever played with. He had no transformation, no like crazy, no active skate. So there's characters that you can just experience, and sometimes I don't want to I don't want to wait 5 turns and have to deal with with the potential of some crazy bad transformation condition. I just want to enter turn 1 and dominate with Blue Gogeta. That's what I want. Like, that's the kind of experience I want.
The answer to that question,
transforming Gogeta.
Exactly.
Like linking characters, right?
Yeah.
Having a brand new name means just like a different character you can link with anyone you want.
And I'm not saying that I want every release to not have a transformation or fusion, but it's like let's at least have like one in the game for Gogeta. You know? Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, think about the number of times you use like the Blue Boys and you just can't fuse into Vegito. And so not only do you don't get to use Vegito Blue, but you also potentially get killed because you can't fuse into Vegito Blue. So yeah.
That's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we continue on, I want to let y'all know that any donations and super chats will be read out at the end of the show. If you want to help support the show and, you know, any 4 of us read out anything you want to say 100% guaranteed, then feel free to do so.
Well, hold on, wait a minute. You can't say that. If they say something insane, we can't read that.
I know,
out.
right?
Okay.
We're not getting off script.
Let's chill. Okay, you guys know what I mean. Just to typical.
Excuse me, Mr. Dokkan Assets. Can you please read out your social security number on stream right now? Oh, sure.
Well, now you're giving them ideas, buddy. I don't know. That's beautiful. I think that's on y'all. I don't know. That's crazy. I used to believe in people. Thank you very much. But anyways, continuing on, we do have some free-to-play characters that also came out during the 9th anniversary. We'll talk about them pretty quickly. A lot of them just haven't even fully awakened just yet. But there's the free-to-play Gogeta, the free-to-play Beerus, and the free-to-play Frieza that have been releasing. I believe Global has the SSR for Frieza, the TUR for Beerus, and then the just a release for the Gogeta in general, since he does not like actually awaken. Not really much to say about these guys until they awaken, but they're out there. I mean, if there's anything if you guys want to talk about the TUR of Beerus, you know, it's up to you.
I mean, I think the thing that would be more interesting is obviously just for the benefit of global players. Like, if you guys, what do you think about like Beerus once he actually is an LR and gets easy aid? Like, you know, Frieza when he gets his easy aid. Like, obviously at the moment, you know, like I don't even bother doing videos on these guys until they actually get like their full awakenings and easy A's and stuff. But just for people who, I guess, like other global players who don't really know what to expect, like, what would you guys say? Like, because I know, I swear I've seen people say, like, depending on the build of super bosses, that like Beerus is even still kind of usable. Like,
oh
what
yeah,
you guys think?
No, he I used him, funny enough, on the one of those Broly missions when I was trying to beat it. I was using him on the team. He can still do pretty good. Like, I don't think he's gonna be on your main rotation or nothing like that, because obviously there's so many better units. But he's definitely like, if you just need a unit to throw in there for either like the mission or like the 6th slot or something like that, like he's a pretty decent option. To be honest with you, like I think they actually did a fairly good job with him.
I agree.
I still enjoy using him. Frieza, we may as well not even talk about him. But Beerus is pretty good, yeah.
Gogeta also unfortunately kind of sucks. I mean, he doesn't really do anything special.
But still, it's still worth it it's still worth it for everyone to grind these characters up because you just don't know when you're going to be required to use Frieza for any event.
True.
And what you do get is the tickets. Your
I was gonna say like
Yeah.
obviously you should still grind them up even if you're not going to use them, but yeah, you do need to grind them up to get the tickets.
You don't actually have to EZA them. You just have to fully awaken and rainbow them.
Okay.
But yeah, no, you want to farm these guys up regardless. Specifically the Beerus and the Frieza. The Gogeta is basically just given out to you anyways. But the Beerus and Frieza, you do definitely want to farm them if you want to make sure you are able to do your 50 character or your 77 character summon with the 50 tickets, which you could do on any of the 4 banners. I got a copy of Blue Gogeta off of that summon, so you could easily get one of the new LRs in those summons.
They got beasts, so
you want to make sure you do that,
And keep in mind how many stones we said earlier. That's literally like throwing away like that many stones if you don't do that ticket.
So. And if I'm not mistaken, you get the Zenny back and some rewards back from doing that anyway. So it's not really a big deal to go ahead and awaken these guys.
Listen, bro, if you be struggling with Zenny and orbs, I don't think you'd be playing the game. I don't know, bro.
Yeah, the actual it's funny because every year I swear I see at least one person that tweets when we get like the breakdown of the missions for part 3 or whatever, so people finally know how to get all of the tickets. And then I'll see, I swear, every year like one tweet from someone being like, "Oh, I have to farm all the free-to-play cards." It's like, well, yeah, because then you get a 400 stone value multi-summon for it, like, you know?
Right. Well, and you know what I think is funny about that too? It's also like, bro, if you're like, I barely grind free to play characters, right? Unless it gives me dragon stones, or if it's like the one odd free to play character that's like really good, right? I usually just don't bother farming them because it's like I'm literally never going to use them, so like what's the point? But if you're telling me that like I have to farm 3 free-to-play characters out of the 365 days of the year that they release any other free-to-play characters in the game, bro, suck it up and grind the 3 characters once a year. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
I think the worst part, too, is that it's the same people who complain that there's nothing to do. Right?
That's true.
There's nothing to do. Waiting for Beast Go on this anniversary is so dead, blah, blah, blah. But But again, I also disagree with the point that you're never going to use them because when these Prime Battle EZAs drop, you need you can only use 6.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So and I would not be surprised if in the future they release some sort of like mode that requires you to run free to play EZA characters.
Yep.
And so if you've been grinding these characters up since then of course at some point, it's going to be valuable for you.
Isn't it
there's
like
kind of a mode like that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't it like the Prime Battle LRs to do their Extreme Z area? It's all free to play EZA characters. So.
But also the
That's what I'm saying.
the support memory event, you also need free to play characters for that too.
Yeah. No, but so when I said I wouldn't be surprised, I meant like things besides the Prime Battle EZA stuff. Like a new mode or something else that would that drops a free character, whatever the case is, right? That's going to offer someone like, dude, LR Vegito Blue was a free character. Imagine they locked him behind six specific free to play characters like that. Like if that so I don't know. And then we're gonna see so many people complaining, wow, it's so unfair that they require you to play the game to get a character. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, because that's the thing as well. Like nowadays with like the percentage boost that you get from using specific characters, and then like the support memory that gives you the extra boost as well. Like it really doesn't take that long to get the characters farmed
plus
up
power
as
level
well.
stuff too.
Yeah, getting the bonus drops and stuff. Yeah, very true.
If you have oolongs, I don't know if you just said that, but if you have the oolong sport memory,
the sport, here's one or the buller one. Yeah, you just get the extra like bonus percentage, and then like it does not take long at all to get those guys farmed up. So but that was my general consensus. My understanding as the general consensus from JP players was that realistically Beerus is the only one that has any real use like after the anniversary once they've actually all got their awakenings. But it won't be till fairly close to the end that he gets his EZA, because obviously he'll get his LR awakening, but then we have to wait for him to get the Easy A as well. So
It's
yeah.
still so dumb that they do that. I think they should ease the anniversary characters in the next anniversary, so that way,
Oh
like,
yeah.
these characters can kind of match. Like I think Beerus should his Easy A state should be his base state,
I agree.
and then next year, when a new tier power comes out, you Easy A the previous anniversary character LR,
Yes.
the
Yeah,
free to play LR,
100%.
and then take that LR and kind of bring him up to like a new status, you know,
Yeah.
and like.
That'd be nice.
Power creep the free
But
LR
you
or
see,
something,
that's
I don't know.
actually being smart. So
What's really funny that you say that, Mr. Baby, is way back when I did the shout out to the homie Kayvon, when me and Kayvon, that Ningen was actually on. When we did the podcast, we had an Easy A like related episode where we talked about like what makes a good Easy A and what makes like a Easy A long lasting and stuff like that. Low key, everything we said in that episode still holds up to this day, even though that episode is so many years ago. And one point we made in that was exactly what you said. It just defeats the purpose of an Easy A, because the point of an Easy A is supposed to be making characters who are irrelevant or not up to snuff now able to compete with the modern characters, right? That's the whole objective of an Easy A. So it defeats the purpose of what the fundamental meaning of an Easy A is, to have a character release, they suck, and then they get an Easy A right away, because now they'll never get a good Easy A because they already have one, or they'll never get one in the future to make them better, I should say. Anyway, sorry, Mr. Baby,
I think just the bigger issue is that they design him with that in mind. The base like the pre-Easy A state is designed because the Easy A is coming out,
right?
Which I think it doesn't make any sense.
Really
I don't think that's.
I don't like it either, but
because
it's just a thing that's.
It's one of those things that I think we've talked about it before. It's a real shame that it happened with Wrathful Broly, because obviously he can then never get an Easy A. We've never gotten another Wrathful Broly, so he's the only one we have in the game with that name. The only thing I would say is, like, I don't mind as much when they do it with free-to-play characters, because obviously, like, instead of doing the character now and then giving them an Easy A next year, they obviously just make another new character, and they're free, so you just farm them. So it's not like you're getting a summonable character that immediately loses its value, right? It's like,
but that's still like iffy though.
But I do agree.
Depends on the unit who it is, though.
Yeah, I also do agree it would make more sense for them to just be good and then Easy A the next year, so then they can be good again. Like, that makes more sense, because then you have more free-to-play units like in rotation that are actually good. But it's a good thing they don't do it with summonable units. Hopefully they did it that one time, and then thankfully they've never done it again. Like. Because, man, when are we getting another Wrathful Broly?
Or LR Broly, bro. Imagine Easy A for AG or LR Broly in part 3 or something. That'd be disgusting, dude.
Yeah, someone mentioned it in the chat. It's like he's going to get his Easy A in like 2 years and 6 months' time or something, whatever it is. Like, imagine him with an Easy A.
Like, I guess at least with Dokkan Fest, if they did do that, this is high copium, by the way, but at least they would get a super Easy A at some point, probably. Yeah. So I guess you would technically have that to look forward to. But obviously, these free-to-play characters are just, condemned to eternal damnation, because, they already said they're not going to get one. The only thing I think, Ningen, that I would disagree with you on that is like, oh, well, then you just farm another free-to-play character. Well, the thing about that, though, is that it also depends, because I feel like the unit of who the free-to-play character is really matters, right? Like, it's like, okay, sure, right? We could get this Easy A for Beerus, and thankfully he's still good, right? But it's like, okay, so if Beerus Easy A, right? Obviously he's valuable, because of the categories that he's on and the character who he is, because there's not that many Beeruses in the game, right? But if Beerus's Easy A like sucked, and then it's like, okay, Mr. Baby, this one's for you. Next year we get like, free to play LR Bio Broly or something.
I would go so hard for that. Oh my god, I love that.
It's like, well, okay, yeah, it's another free to play LR to farm that could be good, but even if it's a similar kit to what Beerus does, it's still not necessarily, it's not Beerus, and it's not going to be all the same categories and links that he has. So I feel like that aspect of it is still important to think
Yeah.
about, because
That
the
is
actual character who the unit is important.
Yeah. No, that is true.
Yeah.
What's the name of
Also,
the what's the name of the recent character that the free to play character that dropped in one of the recent Dragon Ball story events, like the
You're
Bouillon?
talking about Bioing?
Yeah.
So a character like him, like if he got an EZA a day after he released, I wouldn't care. Like no one cares about him. You know what I'm saying? Like
Not the goat, no.
so that's why I agree with what Ningen said. But like at another point, like I feel like for anniversary, like an anniversary Alar should be without a doubt the best free to play Alar in the game by a mile. That's the way I see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they should
You see
just
what I'm
like it happened with
That's
Roshi,
the way it
right?
should
Like
be.
they should just be the best
Oh
free
my
to play
god!
unit in the
Imagine
game.
Roshi
like,
EZ8 today, bro. Oh my god.
That's what I'm saying. And Roshi's still like okay, I feel like, anyway. I've used him a couple times. I think it's just because he can dodge.
Yeah, I was gonna say he pretty much is dodge or die, but like some events you can still steal or stun, which he can do, and he can dodge. He's got a revive, so I mean, there are certain instances where he can be somewhat useful. I think I did like an Earthlings versus Kid Buu run that I used him in, but yeah, he's pretty funny.
Beyond Buyon.
Yeah, that was
Fun
just
fact: he's apparently
Bouillon.
he's the
Bouyon.
only Fizz Extreme unit on DB Saga. Did not know that. Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's very
cool. Yeah, I don't know, but it's like, you know, I still feel like even though it's like nobody cares about the character, it's like, dog, when are we ever gonna get another Byoing character?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. And low key, that unit isn't even like he's not. You're not
He's
gonna
not
be
even
winning
good,
any
yeah.
2-point fights with him, but yeah, he's like,
not. He's not bad though.
he's
Like,
not
he's
bad,
not bad. He's
which
not
is
bad.
so funny. I think
Yeah.
that he's like actually not terrible.
Yeah.
But either way, though, yeah, the only last thing I was gonna say is, you know, Sleepy Beerus, Pajama Beerus, parentheses before Zamasu. What the heck, Dokkan? Anyway,
Where's Amasu? Whoa, whoa, whoa! What about Kid Buu?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Oh no, he's
Well,
talking
no,
about
no, I meant the
different name.
the
Yeah.
name.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But
No,
you
no,
are
no,
correct.
yeah.
You are right.
Yeah, I do love the fact, like,
I
you
just-
think about how many different, like, it sets such a weird precedent, like, not to spin this off into a really long topic, but, like, how many different versions of, like, Goku and Vegeta do we have, like, wearing different
lot.
clothes? But then, like, Beerus gets a card that, because he's wearing his pajamas, has a different name from all the other Beerus cards, and
Yep.
that's the only reason why. Like, that's so random compared to all the other characters that don't have different names for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine if like every base form Goku in the game was like Goku Saiyan Saga, Goku, you know,
Or like Goku
Frieza
brackets
Saga.
Yardrat, or like Goku brackets Turtle
Right.
School, like because of his outfit.
Which
Like,
is
it's
the way. That's the way I think it should be. And even another thing I
agree.
dislike too is like the carnival Goku, the S tier carnival Goku that came out after, was it Yamcha, right?
Oh, the
the
Hachiyak movie
Z-Fighters
one.
one.
Yeah.
I understand it would have been a really long name, but because there's so many Super Saiyan Gokus that with the name, like why not just give Trunks, Vegeta, Gohan, and Piccolo in the name? Because now it's like
he's
there's going to
so many
be
teams now.
No, I understand that, but I think like it's okay. So when
And
during the
that
6th year
Goku plays
anniversary,
a different role as a floater character, you know.
and I understand that too. I think when the 6th anniversary came out, I think Team Universe 7 was literally, at least in my opinion, like one of the best LRs in the game, but only tied to that one category, right? I think when it comes to this Carnival Goku, you could have had he could have been an extremely strong super class or like join forces support.
Yeah.
And no, I don't think anyone would have cared because this way you can run him with any Super Saiyan Goku. And granted, like maybe you can't run him on Super Saiyans, but let's say we get or you know what? Put Namekian in the category. Why not do that?
Yeah. If only they
it would
would.
be nice
Yeah.
if you would.
No.
But the
We
thing is
have
that
an example of that in the game. I'm sorry,
can't-
I have to pull this up. Let me pull this up real quick. Just
What
so
I
you can...
would say is if you had all the other characters' names, his link set would drastically change, and he wouldn't even link well. with
Yeah,
Super
but
Saiyan.
if he's giving 4 key to all allies, who cares? You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
mean, I think you're just no fun.
Well, I think I prefer it just being Super Saiyan Goku because then he's on more teams. He's
That's
gonna
crazy.
have a better
Yeah.
link set.
I
He's
mean,
gonna
This man just
be
doesn't
more
like fun.
freeform
I'm
as well.
convinced.
I
It's
think
not.
it's
What are you talking about? No fun. That's not what I'm.
no.
Talking
I think it's because I think I get because what Minato is saying, and I guess I do agree with that. Is like it's better that he's Super Saiyan Goku because of the way Dokkan works. So because that means he gets to be on all of
Yeah.
those teams and have all of those links. Because unfortunately, if they did make him Goku, Trunks, Gohan, Piccolo, like then the character would be on barely any categories and would have terrible links.
Yeah, like
The
3
solution would
teams,
be
and
that
then-
that Dokkan stops doing that with Joined Forces characters, but unfortunately
But
they
it
don't.
would-
So,
Yeah, I don't. I
what
think,
it should be
I
is that they
think-
should be on all the teams
Yes.
of all the characters,
yeah,
and then
Yes.
that's what Legends does, isn't it? So
maybe if there's some sort of way to get
Yeah.
like interchangeable links, then that'd be good. And I'd be
Mm.
like, oh, that's good. But I like being able to use the character in multiple different teams and being able to use them more often than okay, if I have to use this character, I have to run this team. I can't run this character on other teams that I like, or I have to specifically run this set up.
mm,
And that's not nearly as fun as me. Oh, I could throw Broly in Super Saiyans. I could throw Broly in movie bosses. I could throw Broly on, Beast Gohan's team. I could throw Broly on full power. All these different setups that you could do when a character's not restricted to one team because they're only on like 2-3 teams, right?
yeah,
And if that team becomes bad, then you can't even use the character. Like how Super Bosses was with Physical Rose, right?
yeah,
I think it's it's definitely a valid point. Like I really cannot, argue with that. We're going to get more Super Saiyan Gokus in the future, right?
yeah.
And since we're gonna get more, we're gonna get a Super Saiyan Goku with this character or Super Saiyan Goku with that character. And so if they just name him Super Saiyan Goku, there's going to come to a point where it's like the entire team is Super Saiyan Goku with someone else, and it's everyone has the same name. And so, and I also think that I understand how important links are in Dokkan. Like I think categories are super important, especially because they don't give categories to like in Legends. If a character is like a Namekian and a Saiyan, they get both
Yeah.
tags, right? But in Dokkan they don't do that. So I understand how important that is. But I think links can be overcome with the passive of the character. Like if a character has no good links, but they're giving all allies like let's say some ridiculous 4-key 60% and like 5% damage reduction, like you don't need the links at that point. Like it's okay, And so I think the links won't matter too much, but if Dokkan could at least allow these characters to like if that STR Carnival Goku was like on Namekians and like hybrid Saiyans and stuff, that would just be, and with all the different names, like I think that would be the best case scenario.
Yeah.
Just to avoid the future, Super Saiyan Goku this and Super Saiyan Goku that, because we're gonna get a million more of those before.
It's just how the game works, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Why I would have preferred that. If we're thinking realistically, then it's like, if we're thinking about like, oh, if they did do this, then yeah, I'm down for it. But that's not how they operate, and sucks, right?
Yeah.
Very unfortunate for that character because it would still be nice if he had a different name overall. But with how the game does work, I prefer that he was just Super Saiyan Goku because he's still at least doing a different role than what Tech Carnival. Tech Carnival Goku was your slot 1 character, right? This Super Saiyan Goku was like a character maybe you keep him on rotation like a little bit early on to get some hits in, but then you float him off because he's a support character. That's what I really liked about that guy and how they designed them to be different roles. You choose to put him on a team to do different things.
Yes.
So then how would you feel about LR Tech Rubrienne? I think the reason why I bring her up is because one thing that really bothered me about her, or that LR, is they have the super bosses category, right? And as we know, the name is Rubrienne, Kakunza, and Rosie. Rosie and Kakunza are not on super bosses, but they still have that category. And when I saw that bothered me a lot because that is literally them breaking their own. I'm not going to call it a rule, but if they do that, why couldn't they give the Namekian category to the?
Well,
I mean, I think the name is important, I guess. Yeah, but if that other,
because she transforms into just Giant Ribrianne, so Giant Ribrianne by herself is on the Super Bosses category.
Yeah, but the name of the card that you pull for and the card that it is not.
Yeah, you pull for Super Saiyan Gogeta, but he's on Realm of Gods, even though he transforms to Blue Gogeta. It's a transformation mechanic, right? Same with how giant form characters are on the giant.
So if a Gogeta that transformed into blue, and the name of the character, let's say it was Gogeta and Krillin, right?
Mhm.
If Gogeta transformed into blue, you'd say they still give him the Realm of Gods category, even though the name of the card is Gogeta and Krillin.
Well, okay, if it was like, because the difference is that would be like probably an exchange. Is how it would work. If it was like literally Gogeta and Krillin, and then a transformation mechanic into Blue Gogeta by himself, then he would probably get Realm of Gods because that's how the transformation mechanic works. But with how they would make the card, they would probably make it an exchange, Gogeta and Krillin / Gogeta, in which you wouldn't get the post-transformed categories. It's just how Dokkan does operate, and I don't agree with their logic.
Yeah.
I think that they should do what you're saying. I'm just telling you why they do it.
Mm.
No,
And they're twisted,
It is very
logic.
strange.
right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
If
didn't
it's a
realize that,
transformation,
the,
it inherits the categories.
The
of
thing about
transformations.
Ribri and
Yeah.
Trio being on super bosses, because
'Cause-
that's the one thing that bothered me. I was like, they could do it for other characters too, if that's the case. You
Well, it's
know what
like
I'm saying?
the,
If
um,
they did it,
it's
if
like
they
the
didn't
meme.
like have the giant Ribrianne, then they wouldn't be on super
Okay.
bosses.
Which makes sense. I never consider that. I guess it
It's-
makes sense. It's just I think the categories should be, at least again in my opinion, should be based off the name of the card. Even if there's a transformation in store or whatever mechanic, if the name has a character, either you don't put them on a category or you put every character with that has that name. You put all those categories in the. I don't know. It
Because
should be one or the
I
other.
just thought about it as
There
well.
shouldn't be examples of.
I hadn't
don't
really
know.
thought about this before, because I was going to mention the fact that like there's obviously the meme about the Broly trio, right, and the fact that they have big bad bosses.
Oh yeah.
Whereas like standalone Broly
Yeah.
doesn't have big bad bosses, standalone Chile doesn't have big bad bosses. So obviously,
we know Lemo's the
obviously
big bad
Lemo
boss.
is
We
the
know
big
that.
bad boss, right? But I didn't actually think about it until I was just about to say that. But they are actually in the same spot, right? Because like the Chile card isn't on super bosses, but the Broly trio card is on super bosses and movie bosses. So the card is
Yeah,
actually
I
called
mean,
Broly, Chile, and Lemo, and
And
they're
there is
on
no
super
transformation
bosses.
there, right? There's no
Yeah.
transformation or anything. And so that's just another example of
weird.
like them being
I don't know.
weird with how they.
Sometimes they're
choose to
weird
work.
about it too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't really.
That's
explain
actually
that.
that's actually a perfect
Dokkan
example
be
because that's better
Dokkaning,
than the
I
Rubrienne
guess.
example. Yeah, that's a better example than the Rubrienne
Yeah.
thing because again there is no transformation
But
or
then
anything.
they still
And
aren't
it's so-
on like 16 billion categories that they could be. But
You're right,
it's
but
very
I don't know.
weird.
it's also
They're very
rosters,
silly
which
about
is
it.
weird. I don't know.
They're
Yeah.
very silly about it.
Yeah, that is true. Dokkan
Um,
categories being weird is not anything new, I guess, to anyone.
we are getting like major off topic.
But it's
I
fun.
just realized
Fun.
that we gotta rail this back on. It's a great conversation, but we got. I guess we're not gonna be here for like 5 hours
Listen,
talking.
when we got a guest here, you know, we got to go a little bit.
We
off
be
the
yapping,
course.
we be yapping. It's a good thing though. Thank you, Mr. Baby, again for being here. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you for inviting me and making fun of me. You know how it is.
To be fair,
Yeah,
when
yeah,
Theo
Mr.
said about
Baby doesn't
LR
play
Bio
Sparky Zero.
Broly, I did actually think he was going to say LR Legic, to be fair. But
Wait, what? I heard my name.
My lord,
What'd you
I was
say?
going to say, when Theo was
Legic
saying
user?
about giving you the example of a free-to-play card and then said Bio Broly, I really thought he was going to say
I
Legic.
thought he would say Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Legend
I think
loser.
both. I think both characters apply to me low key, so I feel it. You know, I get it.
I think
Magic.
Bio Broly's the more positive one though, for sure.
Yeah.
You think so, buddy?
That's the one you'd want the most, right?
You think so?
I mean,
Okay.
listen, bro. I don't know.
Anyways, continuing on. Is there anything else about global that you global players want to bring up or talk about?
Why do you
Before-
say you global player?
Yeah,
know,
because
right?
you guys are
he
the
looks
global
down
players.
on you people. He looks down on you.
Yeah,
high
I kind of
horse. He
hate
really does.
global. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's gonna be so sad when the sync happens. It's like I'm gonna be like,
Damn.
I'll find a way.
That's a whole different. Let's just move on because the global versus JP stuff can take a few hours. So let's
Yeah.
just-
Okay. If there's nothing else to talk about on global currently, again, we know the Broly trio and some of those EZs are upcoming. They should be out by next week. But we can move on to JP stuff now, in which we had like some events and some characters release. Just a quick little recap. We did talk about UI Goku last week, and I guess giving a little update on how I feel about him. Like once this week has passed and my more usage of this guy, I like him still, but I feel like as time went on, I like him a little less than I originally did like him. it's that thing where it's like we all see the transformation when he does transformed, and it's like on paper, it's like, oh my god, he's countering and dodging. He's so good. Oh my goodness. And then you get more experience with him, and it's like that base form. It's kind of like similar to
Gogeta.
Broly, actually, where the base form I feel like is because they have the same transformation condition, turn 5, where the base form it's just like UI Goku, who's not really helping the team out. He's just has a 70% dodge like S tier UI. If you guys have used S tier UI, you know the feeling. Whilst he does have that safeguard mechanic, that doesn't help him live supers in many situations, especially if you're putting him in slot 1. If he still doesn't dodge a super before he attacks, he still will take a lot of damage or potentially die. Is what I figured with the UI sign before he transforms to UI, and that does suck, right? It just like situations where obviously he's not invincible. No character is gonna be invincible in every single situation. But I feel like he has like those open spots, and considering the again first few turns of the fight are the most important turns now, and the most difficult fights, it kind of sucks like that, right? But it's not like I'm saying like he's way worse. He's still like extremely good, right? 70% chance to dodge is still nice. He still does good damage. He's still supporting the whole rotation. Still has really good leader skill. But again, we all know where he's really the most powerful is when he's actually transformed into the UI like full Goku with the white hair. He is still absolutely crazy, insane, busted, disgusting, like insane. Like when you transform into him, he's like the best solo performing character in the game. And I'm sure we're all aware of that. But I just wanted to give like my little thoughts on him. It's mostly like again that base form where it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, still good though, still good, just a little less. Yeah, we didn't talk about anything last week in chat. Yeah, you're right.
True.
The week before last week, right? That's funny, but you guys get the point there. Next week though, we will have the part 2 alarm. So that's going to be cool.
Yeah, because when should that come out in theory? The part 2 LR. Okay. So we should be getting the reveals for that in the next few days, I guess. That's interesting.
Yep, probably by the 16th at most. So keep a lookout there. Besides that, we have gone 2 EZAs. Last week, obviously, we weren't here to talk about Team Universe 7, but this week we did get the Frieza and 17 EZA. So I guess we'll talk about the one that came out first, Team Universe 7. Dokkan Assets, have you been able to use the Team Universe 7 LR EZA?
I actually have not used it, unfortunately. I did EZA both of them, but listen, bro. Listen, I hate to say this, bro, because they're really good, but listen, bro. I've been thinking about
maybe you just hate fun, Dokkan Assets.
No. The problem is, all I had on my mind is Rainbowing Beast, and all I've had on my mind after Rainbowing Beast was using him and Broly as well because I just got him. So I've not been focusing on the EZAs whatsoever.
Dokkan Assets just hates fun. That's
I mean, listen, bro. Occasionally, you gotta be a hater. You know what I'm saying?
I guess I'll have to talk about them. I think as the GP player, me and obviously Dokkan Assets are the GP ones here. I probably might be the only one who've used them, unless any of you two have somehow used them.
No, I've seen some like screenshots and stuff, but I know from like reading their kit, they definitely seemed very interesting. So I'm interested to hear what you think of them now that you've used them a bit.
They're red. Shocker. They're really insane. I think that obviously they are still based in the Universe 7 Reps team, but I would say with what they've given them, they're better now than they were on release, probably. In my opinion, I just think that they're very disgusting. When they're on the full Universe 7 Reps team, which is obviously the best team in the game, and I feel like that team is also better, arguably potentially now than it was on release, in terms of like comparing to the content that's available. They get 52% reduction. They have 52% chance to crit. It's like they just don't die. Obviously, you don't put them in slot 1. They get most of their stats after attacking, but man, they just get super high defense once they super, right? About like 1.5 mil range even, I would say, with the 52% reduction. So it's like there's like no super attack in the game that can kill them. They're providing support for the rotation. When they get Rainbow Key Spheres, they give allies, I think it's like a key and 7% stats, but their super attack effect on the 18 key, it gives, I think it's a 2-turn 30% buff. Yeah, I'm actually looking here. 2-turn 30% buff to all allies on top of that, so they're multi-turn supporting the entire like team in general. And I don't know, it's just like straightforward. That's pretty much it. They're double supering, doing pretty decent damage, supporting, very easy getting key with them. They just literally cannot die in like 95% of scenarios, right? As long as, again, you're using them on the Rapture Universe 7 team, they just are crazy. Like, the damage they can do is really nice, nasty too, right? Keep in mind, their 12 key also does provide a buff for the turn as well. So if you have them in like slot 2, your floating character could also get just like huge stats, right? If they triple super, that floating character will get 90% attack and defense from these super attack effects, which is really strong. And they also massively raise attack on their 12 key. So eventually you could do like a, I don't know, let's say like a 21 mil attack stat into like a 15 mil additional, into like a 18 mil hidden potential additional. And then you're like, oh wow, they're just going crazy. They're critting. They're very nasty. I guess one thing maybe you could say, like, if you really wanted to like add a cherry on top, is to make them have better Rainbow Orb changing. They do have a one-time Rainbow Orb changing when you fall under 77% HP, but we have a lot of good Rainbow Orb changers on the team anyways, like Blue Cow, and Evolution, and Vegeta. So not a big deal for this guy to not be Rainbow Orb changing, because it's also super easy to set up like orbs for them in general, because like the entire team doesn't worry about key regardless. So very powerful character, very, very good. And one other thing I guess I should bring up is that 2-turn buff, the 30% attack, like that, the super attack effect, like attack raise, feeds directly into counters. So if you have them super attacking the turn before, then you go to the next turn with the UI Goku when he's transformed, obviously, then his counters will do more damage as well. So that's another good thing, right, about this character.
Nice.
But yeah, very powerful. I don't know, any specific questions you may have regarding this character that I may have missed, like in terms of like expecting them, like how they perform in terms of a global view?
I don't think so.
I don't. No specific questions. I just think I'm really excited to use them. I think one of the crazier rotations in the game is, I know you wouldn't ideally put team number 7 in slot 1, but if you have them in slot 1, and let's say a character like Frieza in 17 in slot 2, which we'll talk about in a second, and then like MVP 17 in slot 3, with all the support and the damage reduction that 17 and Golden Frieza are putting up, and then all this the damage that you mentioned that team number 7 is doing, it's just like you have this like unkillable rotation. And I think another fun part about that is these aren't even like these aren't Gokus and Vegetas. These are just like side characters that are just, you cannot kill. It's just such a fun rotation. I can't wait to try. So
yeah, I mean, if you don't get hit with the super before you attack, then you get that.
yeah,
But
basically
that happens like commonly. So still, it's a fun rotation regardless, that you could easily run because they link very well together.
Yeah.
The Frieza 17 and the Team Universe 7, they share 5. So if you're not going into like Blue Zone, Gogeta Blue, or Kid Buu, you'll be fine, right? Like if you're going into Golden Frieza fight, you're not gonna die, right? If you're just trying to use this for fun. But yeah, again, it just could be a little risky because they only have like 200 to 300k defense, and even with 50% reduction, it's like if you take a 2 mil super, you're only bringing that down to 1 mil, and then you still take like 800k damage.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the thing, right? But they're still going to be very solid overall. I like them a lot. I guess I can move on next to Frieza and 17, though, right? Again, Team Universe 7, incredibly powerful, but this character, man, I mean, I saw their details. I'm like, they're very nasty. I use them, and it's just they're so good. I know people may not agree with this necessarily, but I think I like this character better than Team Universe 7. I think people will
Yeah, I
like
think
Team Number
so.
7 more because they're supporting. But the thing about this character is I feel like you just can't die with them. You can't lose, right? Because they have 17% reduction per attack they do. They're guaranteed doing 3 attacks. So no matter what, at bare minimum, you're reaching, I think it's 51%
51.
reduction. Yeah, thanks for the math right there. You're reaching bare minimum 51% damage reduction, right? For the first turn, they have 50% reduction. So no matter what, turn 1, once they attack, they get 100% reduction. So you literally cannot be hurt with them on turn 1. It's like quite literally impossible. You have 100% reduction, right? Which is massive. It's so huge, right? You can go type disadvantage. Cell max event doesn't matter. They will always do double digits, no matter what. Take this unit into a turn 1 boss fight in like 3-4 years from now. They have 100% reduction turn 1. They can't be hurt. It's impossible, which is extremely huge in terms of the viability.
Yeah.
They're not restricted either. You can put them on any team that they're on. I mean, arguably, since they have 100% reduction, you can give them no leader skill,
Yeah, true.
and they still will take 0 damage, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. But even after that turn, right, when they start building up their stats, and just in general, they're a physical character, so they'll have a lot of additional in general. If you end up getting the hidden potential system additional, you go from 51% reduction to 68% damage reduction. Which, let's say, I don't know, you take a 3 mil super, you take off 70% of that 3 mil super, that's probably bringing that down to like around under a 1 mil damage, right? Probably like closer to like 800k or something like that, right? I don't know the exact math. I guess I could check. Real
Was
quick.
it 3 million minus 70% would be 900k?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
so
they
like
get up to like, what kind of
900K.
defense are they getting up to after all of those super attacks?
Easily over a mil defense,
there you
right?
go.
Because
Then they
like
take
they get the
damage.
multiple. Yeah, they get the
That's crazy.
multiplicative stats, and then they also do greatly lower attack on their 18 key, with also greatly raising their attack and defense. So like I've seen them on turns. They start out like at, let's say, maybe 500 or 600k defense. Then they, that's like on their turn 3 when they're still building up. And then they could obviously get to like 1 mil defense range once they super attack. They can also debuff the enemy. So if like an enemy like Gogeta Blue is hitting them, like they have debuffed him on top of that. So they're also not taking any damage at all, basically. I did the math in a video, right, with using the Dokkan damage taking calculator, like talking about like, I don't know, if they had like 1.5 mil defense or so, and that they have their like full reduction, they are able to, what's it called, just take like 200k damage from Gogeta Blue's super, which is type disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
And like with the active skill, they don't take damage either. The active skill is super easy to get because now their additionals have high chances to be supers, and you just need to do 4 supers to get their additional, which is really good. They have no issues with ki. They also get crit chance when they attack, so they're also doing some pretty decent damage once you finish getting all their attacks. Like decent, nothing crazy, but it's just like a thing where like they don't take damage. They can't die, right? Like they're not gonna ever be the reason you die until it's like super far from now, and it's like, maybe turn 3, like you turn 3 in like 6 years, you have a boss that hits for like 5 mil or something, and then they die, right? I don't know, that's like an example. They're just really good, really, really, really good. I have so much fun using them. And even on top of that, if you are under 77% HP, they get another additional super attack. So what happens is if you get those 4 additionals, that'll give you 68% reduction. Then they get the guaranteed additional under 77%. That's 5 attacks in total. Which means that 68% will get another 70% reduction, which is why that's 85% damage reduction.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Something like that,
yeah.
It's like they quite literally in the landscape of the game, they cannot take damage.
Yeah, that's
So
wild.
the only thing is, if you're going up against characters, like the first character that came into my mind now, it doesn't matter now because this boss isn't really that, I guess, prominent. But when Red Zone Broly first came out, that AOE Wii was doing
Yeah.
just a lot of damage, right? And so if you're facing like a really strong boss who can do a lot of AoEs, and let's say they also lock, or it doesn't even matter if the moment they do AoEs and your character hasn't even super attacked yet,
Well,
I'm not gonna say they're cooked, but
Mhm.
they're not gonna look as impressive defensively, obviously, right?
Yeah, I guess like AoEs could be an issue, but I do have dodge in mind. You do also have the active skill though. Let me try to bring up the turn I use the active skill literally on my video so I can give you guys the exact number of the defense they're at once I actually use their active skill. But they got to some pretty good start of turn defense. I mean, that's like the one thing that could hurt them. But right now in the game, it's like what, like I don't. I'm trying to think of what like what boss is doing an AoE besides Gogeta that could really hurt them. Yeah, so I'm looking here in the when I was running into the Blue Evolution Vegeta fight, and I took a look at their defense. It is at 1.23 mil defense start of
Which
turn.
is just ridiculous.
So
Yeah, like
that's ridiculous. Keep in mind they get that's also 79%, but they get 50% defense on super, and their super tech effect. No, I think I had the Team Universe 7 2-turn buff previously, so it's not going to be as high, but still like that 1.2 mil defense, and then they super attack, they get extra defense, and then they build up production, and it's like you don't die. Like I think they. Let me see if I could find them taking. Yeah, I think they took double digits from the Blue Evolution Vegeta Super in this video as well. They're just like stupid. It's actually just a dumb unit. I know that like Team Universe 7, they have the support on top of it, but they still take back. They still do take damage. This character just doesn't take damage, right? And I like the fact that you could use this character on any team. So I feel like I would still say like the Blue Evolution Vegeta and the UI Goku from the 6th anniversary, like easiest, they're still better than this character overall. But this character is like probably like potentially right behind them. Because on my last tier list that I did for Team Universe 7, I think I had Team Universe 7 pretty much right behind the year 6 LRs, right? I actually put the Team Universe 7 above Gogeta Blue in my tier list, actually, because they're
Yeah.
like also like providing support. But I just think that Golden Frieza and 17 are just such a safe option to just run that I just like feel more safe using the the Frieza and 17.
Yeah,
Right. It's like
the thing
it's
that
like you feel right?
yeah, the thing that struck me immediately, right, is that like Team Universe 7 on release were like okay, but like Golden Frieza and 17 like sucked, right? Like nobody liked them when they came out as the Part 2 LR for the 6th year. And then as soon as we saw their details on paper, it was like, damn, I think they are better than the Team Universe 7, like when we actually saw what they could do. So it's kind of crazy to see that big turnaround. And like Mr. Baby was saying, I'm looking forward to getting a chance to use them on Global. Now, the one thing I wanted to bring up before we move on to like the last segments here is I made a video talking about this because I saw a couple of people talking about it in different streams and other people's chats and stuff. What do you guys think? Now, bear in mind, obviously, we know that the end of the Global anniversary, JP for like the EX part or part 3, whatever you want to call it, got the Easy A's for Buhan and Vegito. And of course, those came to Global early, which means that in theory, for the Global anniversary, that will be replaced by something else. And so considering that that is 2 LR Easy A's, what do you think the possibility is that we will get these 2 Universe 7 Easy A's at the end of the Global anniversary? Because obviously with the AGL UI in Blue Evolution, like the physical Evoken, like that Universe 7 team is getting buffs with Easy A's in the anniversary. So they do kind of like fit the theme, right, of like buffing that team. And with the
Dragon Ball
sync
Super,
coming
yeah.
up, you know, Tanabata's got to fit in somewhere. So it kind of makes sense if they take some of the content or out of it and like bring it to Global a bit earlier. So I mean, I think it could potentially happen, but what do you guys think?
I would
think there's
say
a non-zero chance.
yeah, I agree. There is a non-zero chance. Correct me if I'm wrong, but back during I believe it was the 7th anniversary, JP got the EX part, which introduced the Goku Junior and Vegeta Junior LR
Yeah.
that came early to Global, but I don't think
Yep.
Global replaced that with anything.
Yes, Global replaced it with
right?
a Global first
got
Tech
full
Full
power
Power Super Saiyan 4
Goku.
Goku EZA. So
Okay. Well,
that's what I mean.
I
yeah,
think
So,
it's like possible. for sure.
It's definitely well. Okay, so you're replacing a new character for. Yeah. I guess it's possible. I mean, that would just mean that the Tanabata celebration would just have less. I guess, or we call it the thank you celebration, whatever you want to call it. But on Global, it would just have less content.
yeah,
What
which I
was
think
thinking
works
is
because they
if-
have to kind of fit it in. Like, because in theory, where the Tanabata normally comes out for Global, now in theory the sync will have already happened by then, which means they're going to
'cause
have
I
to
was gonna
fit the
say-
content in randomly somewhere. So
Technically, the more content that they take from celebrations that are already on JP, the better, because now from worldwide onward,
exactly,
they're going to be synced, right? So they have to fit that stuff in somewhere. So then the less that they have to cram in some random spot in global schedule, the better.
Well,
So
I don't know how much an EZA impacts the scheduling, because I think the way they usually do it, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but they try to allot a specific amount of time between banners, right? So even let's say they try to do 2 weeks per banner, right? If a banner drops and then an EZA was supposed to release, if that EZA doesn't release, I don't think they're going to say, okay, let's drop the next banner a week and a half instead of 2 weeks, right?
true.
I think they're going to still have that. They're still going to have that time like discrepancy. But I do agree. I think what I was going to say is I think Global could get global first EZAs that then JP would get for worldwide. But I think what you're saying is probably more likely.
I think what Ningen's saying is likely as well. Yeah,
more likely than anything. Yeah, for
it'll
sure.
definitely
Keep
be
in mind,
hype.
some
I
of these-
think, but
GP.
Yeah, for sure.
Some of these characters that are on GP that are gonna hit global, like Topo.
Oh yeah.
Global might literally just get them when they return. Like, I don't know. Maybe Global is probably gonna have to do something different for UI Goku, like for sure. But like Topo is like he's gonna return, like in the banner that's post worldwide. So it's a thing where
Wait, what do you mean?
Because Topo on JP is scheduled to return on the banner that's after worldwide.
Oh, okay,
Right.
okay, never mind. Okay.
So
so in theory that would be the first banner that like
They
the
could
games
just-
are synced, right? Like,
yeah, well that'd be worldwide, but
well,
like
you
you
know,
know,
I mean
yeah,
after that, because
first, like,
worldwide is
2 watt
always
banner.
worldwide
Right.
is always same time, but yeah.
So like they could just return Topo on that banner for GP and it being the global release for Topo at the same time. Maybe they could have a way to get Catapest. Like they could just put Catapest on that banner, I guess, if they really wanted to. Sure, right? And then they can give global the Dokkan Fest that's coming out next on JP after Tanabata at the same time. It could be something that they could do.
So what would you do after Global's anniversary? Because that's when Topo most
that's why I
realistically
said-
is coming out.
That's why I'm saying, because the issue is that
You're not gonna put Cell Max in
Topo's
that spot,
celebration
right?
has got basically
No.
nothing
I
left in
wasn't-
it now as
'cause
well, has it?
I was gonna say that Global would get the Dokkan Fest that GP gets on July 30th, because GP is still gonna get another Dokkan Fest TUR for the beginning of August at the end of July. Maybe they could put that Dokkan Fest in that time spot too. Then we can get the what's it called? Like, because Global Anniversary is gonna end on like
August 8th, 7th,
August
9th
8th or
ish.
something like that. Yeah, so like
Yeah.
August 12th, Global can get that Dokkan Fest that GP got,
Mm.
and then that'd be something. And then what else would be missing on Global? Because it'd be
It's
Topo.
it's really just Topo, Cell Max,
And then UI.
as of
UI
right now,
Goku, yeah.
UI
Like-
Goku.
The thing with like they could put the Dokkan Fest there on August 12th for Global. Like that could, I guess, work out. Or they could put some Max there if they wanted to. I don't think it'd be like.
I mean, and
because he has pity in
in effort of the sync, I really just feel like, and maybe you guys disagree, I think the easiest way to do it, because I know the sync will start during Worldwide, but the sync is not going to be done by the time Worldwide is over, because we're still missing so many characters,
Well-
unless the definition of sync is just operating at the
It
same
is.
time,
Yeah, it is.
which would
They already
yeah, but
said that.
that makes, I understand, but how are we operating on the same schedule if we're, what are we doing with UI Goku? What are we doing with Topo? And
That's
so
why I'm
there has
saying-
to,
they
Well,
might.
they already talked
just-
about it. They just said we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all they said.
They said I feel like it's a good chance some of these characters are just going to return on the banners that they would return on GP, and that'll be their first introduction to global. That's honestly what we should anticipate.
Which
We
stinks,
should anticipate
but-
the worst. We should anticipate the worst, right?
Hmm.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. But yeah, but again, back to the Frieza 17 EZA again. So there's stark contrast, but incredible character. And hopefully this does come to global, like at the end of the anniversary. It's definitely very possible global will get this
I think it'd be cool because obviously
during
it was a
weekends.
double LR EZA as like the EX part, and then we have those now.
Yeah.
So replacing it with another like duo LR EZA, I think would be kind of cool. And then because
Yep.
they fit in because it's at least they don't like it'd be weird if they dropped those EZAs, but like they didn't have a team to run on or something. But because the year 6
Yeah.
LRs are getting their EZAs, it's like that team gets revived again. So having these guys then get their EZA as the end of the anniversary, you could then just run them straight on that team. And that Universe 7 team is like basically the whole team is like newly EZA'd LRs basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Like you could just run. I mean, you don't even have to. Like if you have, let's say you could just run UI Goku, or if you have to turn on Power Androids,
Yeah.
you can run Tech UI as a friend and just full EZA characters, and it just works just fine. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's really a W. That's a major W for sure.
All right.
Now in terms of other content, is that it? I think that's it because this week we didn't get anything at all, basically, right? It was just the EZA and GP.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much
Yeah, I
it.
think
So
That was basically it.
I think now we move on to our nice, basically final little segment, the trash takes segment here. And I know
Mhm.
Ningen picked this take for last week, so we're gonna go ahead and
I think,
look at it
if I remember
again.
rightly, I think Mr. Baby helped pick it as well. But obviously, this was for last week, so I can't remember. It has been in the group chat thing, but I don't know if Minato and Theo have seen it. But yeah, it was certainly when we have those ones every now and then where it's the they understood the
Oh,
assignment
no.
ones. It's
Oh, no.
all right. Well, here we go. I'll throw it up on the screen.
Let's see. Oh, yikes. Oh.
Take it away, Minato.
Okay, so the trash take says here, Orange Piccolo is the most overrated unit of all time. People pretended he was top 10. People pretended he was a must run. People pretended that he was number 1 when GG Duo came out, and people pretended he was better than Gogeta and Broly. Most overrated unit ever, not top 15. So I mean, like,
Is this guy talking about legends? Like, is he confused? Like, is he like because
Oh,
LF Orange Piccolo, unfortunately, is not as much Timothy.
maybe
as I wish he
maybe
was.
things of like the old physical Piccolo, you know.
Maybe like is my boy confused? You know.
I mean, this is like, to me personally, this just seems like a bait. Like it's like, oh haha. It's like it is a trash take for sure, but it feels like, you know, if you play the game, you know this is just not true. So it's like I don't even have to give this words. This is just completely false.
Yeah. I mean, you know what this sounds like? This sounds like that this particular individual didn't pull Orange Piccolo and they're salty about it. That's like every time I see a take like this where somebody's like downplaying one of the best units in the game that's like clear that they're best unit in the game, right? Or like up there with the best units in the game. That's just the first thing that come to mind. I'm like, this is somebody who's salty they didn't pull the unit and they're just trying to spread their agenda because they didn't get lucky. I don't know.
I completely agree.
Yeah,
I want to see if I can find, because
That's
obviously,
that's what
because
it
this
is.
was from last week, I did actually reply to the thing to see if they had any other points. And I've just remembered because
What
obviously
would
it was,
even be the
it was
other
like
point?
a week
I
ago.
wanna
So
know.
I do want to see if I can find it, but I don't know if I can. I'll have a quick look.
I dropped something. I can't find it. I want to see. Is there anything in here that we can like dissect about this? People want to pretend he was a must run. He is. People pretend he was number 1 when GT go. Okay. You pretend he was better. I gotta say that I
like
think the most egregious part about this, honestly, like this is just bad
ever
overall.
top 15. Yeah,
That yes,
that
exactly.
is so bad. That is actually
Not
so
ever
random.
top 15 ever, bro. Not even like when he came out.
Yeah. No, I mean that's just. I look. I don't. A lot of conversations that deal with who's number one this, who's number one that. Like I don't really like to dive too much into those discussions because I feel like at the end of the day, while yes you could have an objectively best unit in the game, I just feel like for me when AGL UI Goku first came out, he did not dodge a super attack he felt trash.
Yeah.
He actually like he actually felt trash to me, but apparently he was number one, but he garbage to me. He never dodged. He died every single time. So I feel like there is like a little aspect of like subjectivity when it comes to who's number one. Obviously, some characters are just far and away the best thing that the game has ever released, right? Sure, but to say that Orange Piccolo, who at least for me, dude, him not being able to be touched for like 3 turns literally helped me. I remember struggling with Cell Max a lot, and he just soloed Cell Max for me, dude. Like, for me, to say not top 50, like if you want to say okay he wasn't number one, sure, I'm not gonna argue that, but to say top 15 like that's egregious. That is
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, in certain parts of this take, because we always, like we say, we try and break down like some of the specific wording of it. Like, if this was a take that was saying like Orange Piccolo is overrated, like now, if people think he's a top 10 LR now, then like maybe that would be something you could have a discussion about. Because I mean, I don't know. I don't know about running down the list, but he's probably not a top 10 LR now, although he's still very useful. Like the giant form, being invincible, cancelling out an enemy super attack, which of course, like as soon as people actually realized that that was a feature that like people had just gone unnoticed for so long, right? That like the giant form would actually cancel out the super attack in the first turn after you like untransformed. Like that just gave him such an insane amount of value. And like you could run double Piccolo leads and just destroy every event in the game because of that. And it was kind of, I used to say it in videos and stuff, like it's kind of boring, like having to sit and do like 6 turns of Orange Piccolo, but it just meant that you won the game. So like,
exactly.
Yeah, it's like super OP. And like even people, I remember back in the day, like even people to this day until Topo came out or like LR Ginyu Force and stuff, people struggled with that special pose mission against Cell Max. And then obviously people realized that because the mission doesn't include the friend, people were running like special pose superhero teams with an Orange Piccolo friend lead and just basically having Orange Piccolo beat Cell Max for them because he was that good, right? So
you would never do that with a character who isn't top 15.
Exactly. Like this one is a crazy one, which I thought it'd be funny because like I say, Mr. Baby, I think it was you first. I can't bring up the chat without losing the cams. So which actually we don't have up at the moment anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I can't remember who posted it in there first. But it's just one of those ones that as soon as I saw it, it was just like, yeah, this is garbage. And the funny thing is about it, like we've had some trash takes in the past where we've been kind of surprised by the reaction of the chat. Oh, damn it, I was gonna say I've now taken too long to get to this point because I was gonna say I don't want to jinx it, but like this is the first time we've actually had a take that literally the poll in the chat, it was at 100% L, but now unfortunately I think some people who you know, just like to be different. It now has a couple of W.
We do a little trolling.
Yeah, exactly. It has a couple of W take. But yeah, it is insanely L take. And unfortunately, I was able to find the tweet, and the person did never reply. So it's
which makes sense for a take like this.
Colossal L, yeah.
There's nothing to defend with a take like this, unfortunately.
Because I think the worst part is like the later part as well. Like, so people pretended that he was number one when the GT duo came out. I mean, like I remember there was those debates back then where it was like Piccolo or Bulma were considered number one, and then when the GT duo came out, they were another unit that were in contention for being number one, potentially. But at the time, a lot of people there was this general agreement, as much as there ever can be with tier lists, that like as long as you had one of those three as number one and the other two as like 2 and 3, then we were kind of all roughly on the same page. But I don't remember like. I don't know if this did happen. I don't know if you guys remember like Minato and Theo from JP, but like the bit in the middle, people pretended he was better than Broly and Gogeta. Like, did that happen? Because I don't remember that. Like,
Pretended Piccolo
is better than Broly and Gogeta. I don't remember that being a thing.
Think that no, when he came out, Truth was like, I think Piccolo's better. That's just
what than Broly and Gogeta when the anniversary happened on JP. That's crazy.
Remember,
so this is Truth's fault. Okay.
He either said it or who was like talking about it or entertaining the idea. I always was like, well, he's silly.
Yeah.
Bro, to me, when Broly came out, though, I think Broly was, to me at least, personally, the best unit in the game. On release specifically. So I like heavily disagreed because it's like, I think the thing with Piccolo at this point is that he has the protect mechanic even on turn 3, which is super good. And even now, it's like he holds up defensively. Offensively, doesn't really do anything, though. But he's still pretty good. It's just when you compare him to, okay, these other characters are doing kind of what he's doing, but then they're also doing all these other things, too, right?
Yeah.
Orange Piccolo himself is still pretty good, though. Like, he's easily top 15 bare minimum.
Yeah.
Orange Piccolo is crazy.
Yeah, to be fair, like even other parts could be potentially true, like comparing him to GT Duo, comparing him to Broly and Gogeta, like even if those parts were true, it is the fact, like I think Mr. Baby and Theo like touched on, was it not ever top 15? It's like, what?
Bro.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Would you put Piccolo top 15 now, including easy A's and stuff?
Ooh,
yeah, I think so.
Including
Maybe.
easy A's.
You think so? Really?
I guess it would depend because I
specifically
in my mind I don't really like think about like how many easy A's do we have in comparison. I'd have to like look at the list.
Actually, I probably would maybe say no if we also include TUR and stuff.
I'm considering just all easy A's in it. Like I would put again just based off what I've seen, 17 and Golden Priestess above Piccolo. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
So like I think when we start including, if we don't include easy A's, then I would put them easily top 15. But if we're including like easy A's and all this stuff and that, like I don't know if he would be top. We'd have to really think about it. I don't think he'd be top 15.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess because when I think of like top 10 lists, I think of like, okay, well, this is LRs.
But the funny thing is, as well, is like that isn't even like a detriment. Like if we were to say that he's not top 15 now, it's like he's like a year and a half old. He was definitely top 15 like when he came out, but yeah, absolutely crazy. So, but yeah, there you go. That was a trash take for sure. But
that was definitely
that was a take, all right.
That was something. Do not disrespect the GOAT, bro. There was even like, you know, it's so fun.
The Grill Master Piccolo.
With this, there was a buddy of mine who, funny enough, when I was talking about it, it's like when you don't pull the unit, you slander them. There was a buddy of mine who didn't pull Orange Piccolo for so long, and he was like, nah, he's not really all that. You know, like I use him as a friend. I don't really seize him. And I was like, bro, you have to be blind. We're not playing the same game.
No, it's a cope mechanic. It's really
it is a coping mechanism for sure. But even when he got him, like I think even like he had like one dupe and he was still like, I'm like, bro, I don't even know you anymore. And then when he finally, like after a while, I finally heard him say like, you know what, I get it, he's him. I was like, oh my god. We made it, we got there.
Yeah,
he still cooks, dude.
Yeah,
Orange Piccolo is great.
Yep. I mean, he still is usable now. Like I say, like especially in those first couple of turns where he has a guard, he gets hit like a few times, especially if he gets hit a couple of times in slot 1, like even on turn 1, and then he's still like he's dropping like a 12 or 13 million attack stat. Like he's still usable now for sure, which is crazy. Oh, yeah. So, but yeah, there you go. Certified L take agreed by the chat, even though some people decided to be silly and put W take.
We do love trolling.
And
not to mention, I mean, you run him with Beast too for the super as well.
Yep.
So
yeah, 90. The poll comes in at 90% L and then 9% W because YouTube doesn't like to round up to 100% for some reason. But there you go.
Yeah.
So
YouTube a little
there we
funny.
go. That was the trash takes segment again. We do these weekly, I guess, tweets on the Slot One Super Podcast Twitter, which you should follow if you watch the podcast, right? And if you are interested, especially in leaving any of your own trash takes or trash takes you've seen from other people, feel free to do so. Usually tweeted on Wednesday every single week. So
Mhm.
at least Wednesday Pacific US time, whatever. I think it's still Wednesday in the UK when it drops.
I think so.
Like at 8 p.m. UK time. Basically like 4 to 8 hours before the podcast would start, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think from here, it's time to read out any of the super chats and donations that you guys have given us. And I want to thank you all for going ahead to do so. We appreciate the supports. But Ningen, go ahead and let us know what the people have said.
Okay, so we have we started off the episode with a couple of gifted memberships from Philip Rodriguez, so shout out to you. We have a super chat from Weeb of Class for $10, which is, since the team only has one leader, who would you like to see release as a new Super Saiyan 2 category leader? I would love a Goku from the Kale and Caulifla fight to lead that team. So, Mr. Baby, we'll start with you as the guest. If you could have a new Dokkan Fest come out as the next Dokkan Fest, I guess, whether it's JP or Global or after the sync, I don't know. There is the new Super Saiyan 2 category leader. Who would you choose to be that character?
Okay, so I have two answers for
Okay.
this, thinking about it now. I think one of them, okay, let me just,
Mhm.
the obvious one for me, even though we already have this, would just be from there. When you say Super Saiyan 2, the only thing that pops up in my head is Gohan, right, from Cell Saga. Like that's he is like that is the personified Super. So if we were to get a lead, I would want standalone Super Saiyan 2. Cell Saga, I think that's really the. Actually, we don't have a standalone Dokkan Fest Super Saiyan 2 from, do we?
Not
No,
a Dokkan Fest,
not
no.
Dokkan Fest.
There's like a
No, we
banner
don't,
unit
we
and stuff,
don't.
but yeah, like that STR one.
Yeah. And then the AGL transforming one. So no, we don't even have that. So if we were to get that, that would either that or something like from BoJack, right? But anyways, if it's not Gohan, I would personally really like to see a TOP transforming Kaba who got that lead, because I know he went Super Saiyan 2 in TOP, and I know that scene isn't too popular, and Kaba himself isn't like the great. I know Minato does not like that in Kaba, so I get that.
That's
I
his
get that.
favorite unit. What do you mean?
Kaba.
I
No,
get that.
Vince Kaba sucks. It's a different.
He
Kaba
did
in
his-
general, I'm okay
he didn't
with.
suffer
but
the first
Vince
release. He didn't
Kaba, oh
suffer.
my God. Doesn't
He
even
didn't-
stop talking about Inkaba. What a loser. What an absolute disgrace of a design. Like, how stupid is it? Oh, you want to run a full Universe 6 team, but for you to actually stack and be good on that team, you need a Vegeta. But guess what? There's no Vegeta on that team. It's so stupid and dumb, and you need Vegeta on rotation, and there's no good slot 1 Vegetas. And then it's like this guy's a support unit, so he wants to be floating at the same time, but then you can't just throw him on a team with Vegeta because it wants Universe 6, and he'll
Damn,
die if
bro.
he doesn't have Universe 6.
Look what you've
It's like
done,
actually
Mr.
one of the
Baby.
most
Look what you've
dumb
done.
designs in the game's history ever.
He had
What
the
were
script
they
pulled up.
thinking?
Jeez.
What were they thinking? Even in Legendary Goku event, this guy got creamed because he couldn't stack sometimes. Like what a buffoon design. Oh my god.
Unleash the beast inside, my
I
lord.
know.
I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry. Anyways,
I made a severe and
anyways.
continuous.
So,
lapse in my
Minato
judgment.
wakes up extra early in the morning to be an Inkaba hater.
I think he just
Terrible.
reads the script that he has and
No,
he
it's
memorized
just-
it at this point.
I just know. Oh, I just remember.
Anyways, look, I think Kava would be a nice redemption story, at least for you, right?
Mhm.
So,
No.
but no, I think the transformation scene in Super Saiyan 2 from TOP was really nice, and I would have said something like Caulifla or whatever, but there's just so many like Kale and Cauliflas and Kales in the game that I want more. We don't have a top tier Kaba character in the games, and so I think to give him that respect, and then maybe the banner unit could be like Super Saiyan 2, Caulifla, and Kale that can be supporting a Super Saiyan. Whatever the case is, like my pick would be Kaba, even though it's probably not like a popular pick. I don't know.
Yeah. Theo, what about you? It's a new Super Saiyan 2 category leader.
Well, I was gonna say like low key. I do kind of hope that they do another like Boost Saga Super Saiyan 2, because technically I think the only one that we really have at least it's like even close to anything usable would be like, you know, int Super Saiyan 2 Goku that goes to 3. So I don't know. I think that'd be cool. Funny enough, it's literally on my wall, so I guess I should mention it. Like Goku Black versus Super Saiyan 2 Goku right there. But unfortunately, that fight kind of sucks. Like the animation from that fight is god awful because that DBS was currently struggling in the streets for that fight. So you know, maybe not, even though I do think that it would be a cool you know, thing. Funny enough, the only reason I have that is because I love Super Saiyan 2, and that's like the only piece of Super Saiyan 2 merch that I found that's not a figure. So I bought it. That's why it's on the wall. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of just like, I feel like for me, it just has to be Buu Saga. Because like, besides, because Mr. Baby already said Gohan, which would have probably been my first answer, because that is like Super Saiyan 2's peak moment, right? Like for sure. And ironically enough, we were just talking about earlier, you know, like that we don't get enough standalone characters for these big boy transformations, so that would work perfectly. But I don't know. I guess in that regard, for me, it would have to be Majin Buu Saga. You know, like Goku versus Majin Vegeta type of Goku, which it feels a little bit weird because obviously then you know, it almost kind of feels like they have to release a Majin Vegeta with him almost. But like, I don't know, I still think it'd be cool. Low-key Weibo class in the chat is fitting though. Great Saiyaman Super Saiyan 2. That's my answer.
I was literally going to say that.
Well, sorry,
that was my answer.
Yeah, when he you know, when he gets mad against Popovich, like that would be sick.
Well, I was gonna say that as the intro would be him going Super Saiyan 2 against Cupido, and then the animation would be his fight against Demura.
That'd be cool.
That was my answer.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say, like, I would say, even though the Cell Saga one is probably the most iconic, I really liked the BoJack movie when I was younger, because I do like the idea of Gohan in like the orange fit. So we have that tech LR that obviously still needs an EZA, but yeah, a new Super Saiyan 2 Gohan from the BoJack movie I think would be really cool. Because we're probably not going to get, when it comes to Dokkan Fests, like, as much as it would be cool to get another one, because we do have one in the game, it would be cool to get like a new Super Saiyan 2 Bardock or something, but probably not going to see that as like a Dokkan Fest, right? So would be cool to see something like that, but yeah, probably BoJack movie Gohan if I had to choose. So yeah, shout out to Weeb of Class for that one. We also have a super chat from Philip Rodriguez for $5. What does an EZA for a Carnival LR look like? So obviously this is going to be a long time away, I think, right? Because the first ones were worldwide 2022 with the Metal Cooler and Goku. So I think he's saying in terms of the leader skill, would they get more key? Would the leader skill increase to higher than 200%? Because yeah, this worldwide Metal Cooler and Tech Goku will be 2 years old, so probably still ways away from getting so EZAs. But
weird.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that they're going to be 2 years old with like the next major celebration that happens in like, you know, literally within the next couple of months.
Strange.
So yeah, what do you think we would see for an EZA for a Carnival LR? I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if they just don't increase the leader skill. I guess it depends whether we've in any way gone past 200% with any other characters, but do you guys have any thoughts about that one?
I mean, do you even think Dokkan will ever go past 200%?
No,
like,
maybe eventually, but
you know,
but they will eventually.
I think the thing that they could do is either just increase the key from 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't think. I don't think that'd be like a massive issue. Or they can just do, let's say, the Carnival Kai Goku, right? So it's Turtle School category 3 key and then 200% to stats, and then they can maybe finally start giving some mono. I don't know. I love running mono teams sometimes, and so what if these Carnival LRs started giving like a Turtle School blah blah, or whatever type the Carnival LR is, like Super AGL 3 key 150 or 3 key 160 or something like that. Just adding extra viability there. So for the SR Carnival Goku could be, whatever Battle of Wits, whatever, and then or STR super class, super STR, 3 key 160, 3 key 170, or that's maybe too much. Maybe just 3 key 150, whatever the case is. Just again, just a little extra viability. So you're definitely buffing the leader skill, but it's not anything like to the point where it becomes broken, right? Because if you do like 220 or 230, I think I don't think they do that, to be honest, especially not now. So
I will say, I think kind of in regards to that, which I guess this is ironic because I'm saying that they would kind of do that, but I think that maybe what they could do is keep like the core leader skill to 100%. And then you know how we have like the thing where Dokkan Fest get like the technical 200% leader, where it's like, you know, if they're like 170 on the one category, but then if they're also another category, they get that bonus like 30. Maybe they could just add that to the carnival leader skill, where it's like, you know, for example, like the gammas, right? Where it's like it's superhero 200%. And then it would be like a bonus 30 if you're on like special pose or like artificial life forms or something like that, right? I guess they could do that, but again, that would be like we were just saying, that would be when they would need to be ready to go past that 200% leader skill. But that could be an idea of something that they could do, because then they don't really have to change like the main part of it. You know?
Yeah, because I feel like we probably won't see the first Carnival LR EZA for like at least another year or so. But if we haven't gone past 200% leads, I could definitely see the key going up to 4. I do like the idea of having the secondary leader skill as like a mono type thing. I feel like even making it 170 is not too high, considering you're restricting it, like, especially if it was not just AGL, like for that Turtle School Goku, but it was specifically Super AGL. I feel like, that could be actually really cool for, especially for characters like, you know, like characters like Tech Carnival Goku, where like powerful comeback is not that great of a team. But then if you're also throwing in Super Tech, like 170 is still decent enough for beating events. And then you can throw in some of these really powerful Super Tech characters, and then that team would be really good. So,
that'd be cool.
I think that could definitely be manageable.
I see the vision.
We'll see what they do, but again, if like 10th anniversary has a leader skill increase anyways, then we'll see the leader skill increase when it's going to be.
Because even if it goes up to like 10% or something, right, then obviously that gives them the option to EZA Carnival LRs and make them 210%, right? So,
or they could add something like chance to crit plus X amount or something like that, right?
Yeah, that kind of stuff we talked about before, right? Adding special abilities to leader skills, I think would be quite cool. All right, well, shout out to Philip Rodriguez for that one. Then we have a $10 super chat from Drace. He says, Kid Buu gave hands to Goku and Vegeta, blew up the Earth, found the afterlife, gave out more hands to the people he'd already killed, beat down Goku and Vegeta once more, and was reincarnated into Oob, and still no LR. Shaking my head. I mean, it's true, right? No LR Kid Buu still in the game, even now. We just had a major Buu Circus celebration, but... yeah, got past.
When will they do it, man? Like, I really want to know, like, if they have it like planned for something special, or if it just happens to be happenstance. It really nobody at the studio just like brought up the idea of LR Kid Buu, or if they're just doing it to troll us specifically.
Yeah,
like, I really want to know.
No, I don't. Sorry, I don't think it's happenstance. If I'm being honest with you, like, there's no way that we have. Like, there's no way we have like
weird.
All these LR cells in the game, and all these LR Friezas, and like, would you not? I mean, dude, how is there an LR for Hatchiak in the game?
What
do you mean?
No. It's not even that. It's like he exists. Dr. Wheelo? Yeah. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm not saying Dr. Wheelo doesn't deserve to play LR.
Slander. This is crazy. My God.
Well, that's
9 years into the game.
Free to play Goat.
And one of the biggest villains in all of Dragon Ball doesn't have an LR. Like, that.
Yep.
There. It can't just be 9 years. That's not happening.
Chill on the free to play Goat. Okay.
No,
but yeah, it's got to be like.
I have to use those as an example.
Is he coming? He must be coming for like the 10th anniversary or something, and that's why they haven't done it yet, because they've got this crazy like best unit in the game. LR Kid Buu is planned for like the 10 year or something. But Otherwise, as we said
That would be
before,
rough.
it could literally be a meme where like they just know how much the community memes about the fact there's no LR Kid Buu, so they're just deliberately not going to make one.
We do a little trolling.
So then he better be number 1 by a mile when he releases, because there's
Yeah,
no way, there's no way they release him and he's like not even top 5.
Well,
If Kid
there's no
Buu
way,
releases
there's
like
no way.
Omega, and I
was
know
gonna
Omega's
say.
not as good because he doesn't have a team, but if Kid Buu releases and he's like in the same
That is the
position
biggest
as
L in
Omega,
Dokkan. The
yeah.
biggest L in Dokkan history. The biggest L in
That'd
Dokkan
be
history.
Absolutely.
pretty funny, in my
Period.
opinion.
Absolutely.
it'd be funny, but it would also be terrible. But
Because it like, and even think about like Dragon Ball Z, the most popular version of Dragon Ball. Like
Yep.
when you think of the, like the main villains of each arc, it's Vegeta, right, or Vegeta and Nappa, right, and then for the Frieza saga, it would be Frieza, and then for Cell, it would be Cell. And I don't know about y'all, but when I think of the Buu saga, I think of Kid Buu first, or
Yeah.
Buuhan,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
pretty much Kid Buu, it like would be
No,
him.
yeah.
yeah, and like Kid
Well-
Buu is like he's the final boss of Dragon Ball Z. So yeah,
Right.
it is just genuinely crazy that he doesn't have an
I think-
LR yet. It's wild.
The craziest parts, actually no, I was going to say there's only one LR Buu in the game, but I guess there's 2 with the AGL one that released kind of somewhat recently, right?
Yeah,
So
you
I
got
guess
Super
there's
Buu
2,
and
but
then Buuhan. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, man. It's just weird. Like,
Well, that's the thing, because even if you think about Fat Buu, like Fat Buu and Barbady, so like every other version of Buu, apart from Buff, well, I guess there's Buff Buu and Buu Piccolo, where there's a couple, but like the other main stages of Buu, because I guess Buff Buu and Buu Piccolo, they're not really around for very long, so we don't need to count them. But like every other major stage of Buu throughout the arc, like has an LR, but Kid Buu doesn't, and he's literally the final boss of the series, so that is definitely wild to me, but.
let me ask you guys this: would you be upset if an LR Buu dropped, but Kid Buu was locked behind some sort of transformation,
Oh god.
some sort?
I mean,
of-
if it was
some sort
easy
of
to
something.
get, then
I'm not saying
I
the
guess
condition has
it'd
to be bad
fine,
either,
but yeah, if it was
Well,
easy
would
enough
you-
to get,
Would you consider that?
Yeah.
Would you consider that our Kid Buu justice or no?
I mean, well,
Yeah.
kind of,
You know,
but
if
at
he
the
was
same
good.
time, we have,
If
as
he
long
was
as he's
good, yeah.
good and it's like not too difficult, we have super easy a physical Kid Buu. So if anything, you can get them linked together
yeah.
somehow, right? Or you could
Yeah,
still
so if
run
he's
him as
like
a filler.
LR Buff Boo that transforms into Kid Boo, but it's like guaranteed transform on turn 4 from the start of the battle, none of this like from his first turn, and he's, one of the best extreme units in the game, I would be happy with that still, even though he doesn't start off as Kid Boo. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll have to
so
wait and see.
nothing like so nothing like the Int Goku Black LR condition, nothing like that. The 6 turns and not the LR.
Oh,
sorry,
the rage
6
one.
turns.
Oh god, yeah, no, not
Yeah, yeah,
that.
I
right.
feel like
Yeah,
four-
not
four
that.
turns would be awesome, yeah.
Not that. Why not?
Good lord, no, not
yeah,
that.
I don't know.
Listen, all I'm saying is they gave Sexy Boo a card before they gave Kid Boo an LR. That's all I'm saying.
yeah.
bro.
True.
Mr. Kid Buu.
The awakened SR. But yeah, shout out to Drace for that one. Maybe one day Kid Buu will get the justice. We'll find out one day, I'm sure, but who knows? Maybe 10-year, maybe.
Game will shut
I
down.
don't know.
before we
Yeah,
get
who
it.
knows? Yeah, it could happen. But so we have shout out to Rashad Harrison for re-upping his membership as well. Channel member for 2 months. Let's go. JC Gamer with the $5 super chat. I think next year Tanabata is going to be replaced with Global Anniversary. The changes to Global Special Summons were hints to that. Anniversary is always more hype. The changes to the Special Summon is a hint to that. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
so the special summon? Do you mean the Tanabata summon, or is he talking about like the steps on Global's anniversary? Is that what it?
Yeah, I think so. I assume so. Obviously,
can you reread that real quick?
Yeah.
So I
read
think
it real
next
quick.
year Tanabata is going to be replaced with Global Anniversary. The changes to Global's special summons were hints to this. Anniversary
think
is always
that's-
more
yeah.
hype.
I think the reason why they changed the global
It's 'cause the
anniversary
tickets,
summons
right?
is the reason why they changed the global anniversary like discount summons is because of the fact that they want you guys to summon, because also the banners are super late.
Yeah, he did say the step up summons.
They're
okay.
like, yeah. So, well, he said special summons, but I assume he means.
Oh no, I mean in the
like-
chat now he said step up summons.
Oh,
Bro
I
was
mean,
talking
Global-
about Yu-Gi-Oh! Special summoning.
Global's always gotten special step up summons anyways, so I don't know if this means necessarily like I don't necessarily think it means a hint.
Yeah.
I assume what's gonna happen is that they might just say, "Yeah, global anniversary L, too bad,"
Yeah,
and then
like
maybe they'll be like, "Global anniversary login
Here's the
bonus."
thing,
and
right?
then the
yeah,
actual
I think it'd
anniversary-
literally just be that.
This
Yeah,
image-
it's a weird thing because for one, in regards to JP, right, which it's clear that as I know this like sucks to hear, and I'm not saying this because I'm a JP player. I'm saying this because it's just a matter of fact. It's clear that they prioritize JP over global, and so I feel like it would be weird for them to basically just nuke the celebration for an actual Japanese holiday.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right, because it's like right, like for worldwide, that's like a thing that happens because of Dokkan, right? Like that was put in because of Dokkan itself.
yeah.
Like, that would be like, oh, getting rid of like the New Year's and the Christmas celebration. No, those are holidays, right? Like those happen in real life,
Yep.
and that's why that's there. As well, I feel like it's such a weird thing because I could definitely see them just kind of nuking anniversary on global and just not having it, and then basically making Tabata like take that spot.
Mhm.
But the weird thing is, I will say, and I know it's not the same team, so it's a little bit different, and they're definitely handling the sync a lot differently. But for One Piece Treasure Cruise, they just celebrate both anniversaries. They celebrate the global and the JP anniversary, even though the games are synced now. So it wouldn't surprise me if they go that route too, where they just decide, okay, well, let's just celebrate both because that's just more money for us, right? That's just
Yeah,
more
because the thing
characters.
is,
more
they
marketing. Again, it's like they could just, I don't know, it'd be weird because like worldwide isn't that, because it's just the Tanabata spots there.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know. Well, we'll have to see what happens.
they very well could just, and it would make a little bit less sense because obviously the whole point of an anniversary is to celebrate it when the anniversary is. But they could very well just call worldwide global anniversary, and then worldwide just like doesn't exist,
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, the thing is, they
also
could
be the way of it because
When does the Tanabata celebration actually like officially start? Because it's
On the 30th. Well, it
on the
depends.
30th,
Well, like
yeah.
the 20,
Because see,
the 28th.
Yes, it's
to
like the
30th
week
of,
before,
June.
right? So
Yeah.
I mean, they
The other
literally could
thing
call
that-
the Tanabata celebration. They could have the Tanabata celebration, and then
right.
on like both versions, it would then just be part of the Tanabata celebration. That like a week later, we then get a thing that is like, "Happy anniversary, global! Everybody gets like 50 stones, and here's like
Yeah.
a new free to play unit to farm, and like something else, and then it
Right.
just happens in
That's
the middle
all
of the
like
Tanabata
on
celebration."
On the 7th,
You
they
know-
already return the anniversary characters.
That
Yeah.
sounds so depressing.
It does
I
sound so
don't know.
depressing. The
But I
only
mean, that's the thing
though,
is,
that
it's just
makes me
because the
wonder-
anniversary is happening in February on both versions at the same time. So it's like Global's not losing anything because we're getting the anniversary
Yeah,
earlier
yeah,
in the
yeah.
year. And then
No, I'm just
given
saying,
that
as
they
I
can
know,
still-
it sounds depressing.
yeah, it's like they can still
Yeah.
mark the date, but they just aren't necessarily going to drop. Like it's because, as Minato was saying, right, Tanabata is a celebration in Japan, so it's not like they could just move that to a different
That's what I
date.
said, but
and
okay.
then right, okay, I think we both said it at some point.
That's
but yeah.
crazy.
it's-
That's crazy. No, I'm just
Okay.
goofing on you.
But yeah, it's like they can't just move it to like a week later and then say, well, we'll celebrate Tanabata this week instead
Right.
because it's the global anniversary. Like they probably can't really do that. So I feel like, yeah, as much as it sounds like it is a bit disappointing, it's not because we're not losing anything in the long run. But yeah, I feel like it literally
Right.
would just end up being a thing where it's like, today is officially the anniversary of global. Here's a bunch of like login bonuses and stuff, and that's basically it, right?
Yeah.
Because we're already in the middle of a celebration already anyway. Because yeah, changing the dates of
think-
things like Tanabata, like, because the easiest thing would have been just move worldwide to July the 7th
Right.
and call it the global anniversary. The only problem is that the Tanabata celebration
Yeah.
starts like the week before that, and they can't really move that
Yeah.
unless they just celebrate Tanabata with not a celebration, and they do that kind of thing for that, where it's just like a login bonus and some special events for like 1 week or something, and without a banner. And then the worldwide, well, what would have been the worldwide celebration, then happens on the 7th, and they call it the global anniversary, I guess. But
Yeah.
who knows? At
I
this
mean,
point.
the thing that I think is kind of interesting to think about, if like depending on how they do it, is also the production aspect of it, because like I was saying, like, well, Treasure Cruise just celebrates like both anniversaries, and obviously it's a little bit weird with, of course, You know, the fact that like we already have worldwide, which is like the other comparable celebration to an anniversary. But because I don't think that there's any way with just like the production aspect of it that they would add like another third big celebration. First of all, I feel like that would be too much. And second of all, they even mentioned in like the Q&A that they did for, I think it was during the, not the Broly and Gogeta Q&A, but the one before that, which would have been the what, 8th? Eighth anniversary Q&A. I think they mentioned, or maybe it was during the Broly and Gogeta one. I don't remember, but either way, they mentioned that it was like 6 months to make these anniversary level characters in terms of like, you know, the animations and the art and the kit and stuff. So, if that is the case, right, I would think that realistically they can kind of only have 2 of these big celebrations a year, sort of, with the other couple of like single release characters that are, you know, usually the pretty like high quality characters like the Tanabata, you know, or like the Golden Week, or, you know, those are TURs to be fair, but for Golden Week and like for New Year's and stuff. But, you know, if the anniversary characters take like 6 months to make, and assuming then the worldwide would probably be around the same because they're usually on the same tier usually, I would think that it would have to basically be like worldwide gets nuked in favor of global anniversary. Global anniversary just doesn't exist anymore. You know, or worldwide doesn't exist anymore, and it just becomes global anniversary, which I guess is essentially the same thing. It's just how they market it would be the difference. So, you know, I don't think, unfortunately, I mean, it would be cool, but also it'd suck for summons that there would be another like big celebration of the year. So I think from that production aspect, it's interesting to think about too, how that would work.
It already sucks now because right after Global's anniversary, we have like 2 weeks, and then boom, another one of the biggest celebrations ever.
So that would change, though. That would change going forward.
Because like it's like worldwide wouldn't make sense because it's already synced. So it's like
exactly.
They're gonna make worldwide into the thank you celebration, and we'll just
they
have
could
to
just change the name of it. But yeah, have to wait and see. I guess.
Wait and see. That's the best I can say.
Yeah, I guess we will find out. Hopefully, well, I mean, we're going to find out next year regardless, but hopefully we find out soon. Maybe if they give a more detailed roadmap, and hopefully not that same picture again. But we'll find out soon. Hopefully, who knows? But yeah, shout out to JC Gamer for that one. Shout out to Daniel Rodriguez with the $5 super chat. He says, "I don't care what worldwide celebration is, just EZA, LR, Namek, Goku, and the AGL Frieza. Goku on Broly's team and Frieza." 200% destruction on the way. Yeah, I think those two are very heavily anticipated EZAs, right? In Namek Goku and AGL Full Power Frieza. Those guys were super good on release. Namek Goku, because of the stacking defense on the 12 key, obviously stayed relevant that little bit longer. But after we saw how good the EZAs were for Vegito and Buhan, who were the worldwide celebration units from the year before, I think a lot of people are very excited for Namek Goku and Frieza. Do you guys have any thoughts on their potential EZAs? We'll wrap it up quickly. We only got a couple more to go here, so we'll get.
If they ain't top 10, I'm gonna
just
be
make them top 5. Like I don't know, there's no issue. Give them guard.
I think the best.
I don't. No, you good? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the thing I think that makes them the best is it's annoying when they do these dueling like LRs where it's like one of them stacks defense on the 18 key and the other one stacks defense on the 12 key, because then the one that stacks defense on the 12 key almost always ages better because you can get more super attacks with them.
Yeah.
So I think they did it with Buhan and Vegito, I think. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but like just give both of them stacking both on their 12 key supers, and then straight away that will make them significantly better, like post EZA, because they already have mechanics in their passive to get additional supers as it is, right? So give them both stacking defense and attack on their 12 key, and then I think that's a great start, like straight away.
Actually, I agree. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. I mean, do you guys think it's realistic that they'll get EZAs this year because Vegito and Buhan already got theirs?
I don't know about this year.
Look, but... I know a lot of people want to be like GT for worldwide. I think it's a very good thing, but I'm still gonna hold on my cope for Namek Saga worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen.
Namek Saga Worldwide I really don't want to see that. I'm sorry.
Whoa!
I don't either.
What? Whoa!
Namek. Look.
What?
No, hold on. Let's take a breather.
Uh-oh.
Namek Saga.
Oh.
Namek Saga has. I think Namek Saga has already been explored.
Hell no!
Wait, I didn't finish. Namek Saga has been explored well enough compared to a bunch of other movies and arcs that still need more representation for specific characters and specific instances and stuff like that. Because if Namek Saga drops, like, the only way it's going to be new things if it's like a super niche character or like a super niche moment, or it's just going to be a rehash of like sure, we can definitely get it transforming Frieza into full power. We definitely need that. I definitely agree there, but it's like, I don't want Namek Saga just to get those two easy A's. Like, I would much rather have. And look, what I'm about to say is complete bias, but you have to agree. The fact, well, I wanted Double Broly, but now that Super Broly is the thing, I don't really know. But the fact that there's no LR Z Broly from movie 8, or even like Fist Goku, like, how is that? There is. I would rather get that 10 times over than another Namek Saga.
Dokkan Fest Final Form Frieza at all.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Not a single Dokkan Fest Final Form Frieza. The fact that we don't have Kaioken times 20 Goku and good animations at all. We don't have a Dokkan Fest Final Form Frieza at all, right? We don't have second form Frieza good animations. We need a new third form Frieza. We still have a lot from Namek Saga.
So what would you say? What would you say is less represented? Movie 8 or Frieza or the Namek Saga? Be honest.
I mean, movie 8, because movie 8 is just one thing, right? So I would say
what we say is less represented in general. And what do you think would be more hype? A Z Broly and a Fist Goku?
I mean, that is obviously.
Frieza and Goku would be more hype for me. Namek Saga would be more hype for me. At least me personally.
But I'm saying,
if we think about it, movies has been buffed so many times, and Namek Saga is the one that's been left behind ever since the 7th anniversary started. All we've gotten for Namek Saga since 7th anniversary was the Ginyus.
True.
No, I agree.
We've gotten multiple Brolys. We got multiple movie stuff.
Okay, don't say multiple Brolys, bro. I'm hurting you with my Z Broly rep. Don't say that. We don't. We have Super Broly that just came out. But besides the last Super Broly, what was like the last genuinely good Broly in the game?
It was like
specifically
Broly,
Z,
right?
like Saiyan
in
Day,
terms of Z Broly.
Saiyan Day
we need more. Yes,
Saiyan Day Broly, but I do think
that like a double Z Broly movie celebration is up there. But to act like Namek Saga is also not up there is crazy. You were just on about like Kid Buu is one of the big villains, and he has like nothing. And then now with Final Form Frieza, with Final Form Frieza, the most iconic Dragon Ball villain.
You're like, hang on.
There's no way you're comparing Frieza and Kid Buu. There's no way you're doing that.
Yes, Frieza is way more iconic than Kid Buu.
Yeah,
that's why he has 3 more LRs than Kid Buu. Yeah, dude, we get that already. We get that.
Only Final Form Frieza, only full power Frieza. Final Form Frieza is different, and we don't even have his transformation and animations. And we could use more Brolys too, but do not act like Final Form Frieza not having a Dokkan Fest or an LR is crazy.
I just think that like it's like me saying, oh, there's no specific Dokkan Fest for like this very specific transformation of the character.
You were just talking about Blue Gogeta. You're like, I want a new standalone Blue Gogeta. We all do. It's the same thing with Final Form Frieza. He needs something.
And Theo just sat back watching the.
I'm also look to you.
Could we get
Broly to you is like Namek Saga to me. It's like that same level of hype. Namek Saga is easily my favorite part of the series. So that's just me.
I'm not saying that.
I think both are great choices.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's clearly one that's more hype and that would sell better. But,
yes. Yeah. Sure.
I mean, when it comes to hype, it's obviously
There's no way.
But...
Do you Minato, do you think Frieza would sell better than a Broly? Just say yes or no. I just want to hear. Okay.
Of course not.
All right.
No.
There you go.
Look, one would sell better, but
and again,
I'm talking about which one would be more exciting for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah, I can't argue that. Yeah.
All right, well, there you
There you
go. So let us know in the chat, Namek Saga or Broly.
I do think
for,
Broly would be a more successful celebration. 100%.
All right, let's put
in terms of objectively speaking.
Proton the Goat says in the chat, easy poll moment right now. So Namek Saga or Double Broly.
And I
Well,
want
Double
to.
Broly's gonna win, like obviously. I'm just a Namek Saga lover.
Fair.
I don't know. And again, like I agree that we can get representation for Final Form Freeze. Like I agree that needs to be a thing. I just think that there are characters that need to be represented before that.
Yeah.
You know,
I
that's
understand that.
Yeah.
because of how much love Frieza has gotten in general compared to other characters and other instances. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, let's just let's continue before I start
We'll,
talking about it.
we'll
again.
agree to disagree.
Sure,
All right,
sure.
so-
Even though Broly's got more units, but like, anyways.
Shout out to Daniel Rodriguez for that one. Shout out to Sokodo for the $2 super chat. He says Super Bosses users rise. Yeah, that's right. Super Bosses back from, well, I say back from the dead. It hasn't been out that long really on global since the
It
release
was
of Goku
DOA
Black.
though. Let's be real.
But no, I'm a day one Goku Black defender. But the Super Bosses
look at the
team is
category
super
at
good
least.
now.
Look, physical Goku Black is good. Let's chill.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
he's good. I'm saying the category was DOA. I'm not.
Oh,
saying
Yeah, to be fair,
his
when it
global
released
release
on
was
global,
like
it
one of
was
the
mid.
worst
Like,
releases ever.
it was
Yeah,
bad,
it was
exactly.
not
But
ideal.
not Goku Black was good, but the category.
Ningen, you
global
can't
was-
go back. Last episode, this guy Ningen was like, "Well, his game could clear everything on global, so it was actually pretty good." And
Yeah. Oh no, I'm talking about Rose in general, not the actual Super Bosses team. Like I was saying, even back when he came out, right? My favorite team to use him on was just using him on Tech Zamasu's team, not the actual like Super Bosses team.
Super
But-
Boss was too.
but yeah, Super Bosses is good now at least. So at least we got that right. So
true.
then we have Ultimate Nice Guy with the $2 super chat. He says, "Let's be honest, who's better, AGL UI or Tech UI?" So that's for the primarily, I would say for Minato and Theo, because I can't really say because I haven't used AGL UI with his Easy A or Tech UI at all. So
I'm gonna say overall, I probably would choose to use AGL UI.
ooh, okay.
Say the question again. I'm sorry.
Who's better,
spaced out for a
AGL
second.
UI or Tech UI?
Oh, AGL UI. Yeah. What? Like,
Ooh,
it's
okay.
overall.
AGL UI
Right,
is
it's-
just much.
It's
safer.
because it's out the gate, right? Like, if the
Right.
question was which MUI is better, sure, Tech MUI. But because Omen is there, AGL.
It's
easily.
because
Okay.
I think Tech UI has more openings than AGL UI does. AGL UI turn one takes 0 damage, and earlier I was like talking about how huge that is for the Freezing 17. Like turn one, they take 0 damage.
Mm.
Same thing with UI Goku, except you could also send slot one, right? And Tech UI against turn one against like take him in Blue Evolution, Vegeta and Kalkin Goku. It's like turn one, he eats a super before he supers, and it's like he's like done. And it's like sure, specific scenarios, but at that point when you get to like the top 5 characters in the game that are like right
Yeah.
next to each other, it's the small things that make the determining factor, right? Because they're both going to be good in many situations, right?
Just a super
Um,
quick question. Would you say out of the if UI if out of the gate, like let's say the pre-transform version, like let's say Mastered Ultra Instinct was just the way he was out of the gate. There was no transformation. It was just Mastered Ultra Instinct. Would you say he'd be better than Beast?
For sure, because it's a thing where turn one he would have that guaranteed dodge,
Yeah.
right? And then he's also countering, and then
Yeah.
even after that he still has, I think it's 77% chance to dodge if I'm not mistaken still.
Yeah.
But then he also still has the safeguard mechanic, which is stronger on top of that. And imagine like that domain buff, it'd be so disgusting. It just like he Tech UI is like he deletes the enemy like Broly, but it's like he's also turn one guaranteed dodging.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
very
that's
nasty
crazy.
with that guy. He would definitely be the best unit of the game.
Mm. All right, well, there you go. So, yeah, I think that's what we were saying last time when we talked about Tech UI, right? Is that when it came down to him versus Beast, who's the best unit in the game, it's obviously Tech UI is up there when he's transformed, but it's the pre-transformation you've got to worry about, right? Whereas AGL UI Goku is just that straight away from turn one. So That's kind of interesting though. That was the thing. I was as I say, having not used either of them from the global perspective, I was interested to see what you guys would say. Which of course, picking AGLUI makes me more excited for his Easy A, which will be coming soon to global. So that's definitely exciting.
Yeah, I guess one other thing is that like we thought that the dodge were separate before, but now it's like all additive apparently from like some testing people did. So like AGLUI could still get up to a guaranteed chance to dodge after he dodges 3 times too, which is super useful.
All right, nice. And then last but not least, we have a final one here from Elfcon for $2. We could get What If Namek Saga. I know that's something people have talked about before, right? So like, I don't think they would do it for like all the units, but imagine if we did get, right, like, you know, Kaioken Goku and then Frieza transforming like Dokkan Fest Final Form Frieza that goes into full power, something like that. And then the part 2 is like what if Namek Saga units like Namek Super Saiyan Vegeta and stuff like that, right? Like I think that'd be something that could be very interesting to be explored for a big Namek celebration, because I think a lot of people's criticism for Namek for worldwide is that it's not enough to cover the entire worldwide, right? Because it's 4 LRs, like 2 parts, like a whole month-long celebration. I mean, the part 2 LRs from the Namek Saga worldwide. No one, I don't think anyone was particularly crazy about Goku and Gohan and Krillin. The exchange Vegeta was kind of cool. I'm kind of looking forward to his Easy A.
I think
but
my idea overall, if I could choose, would just be Goku and Frieza, then Gohan and Cell.
Okay. That'd be interesting.
Like, it wouldn't be entirely Namek Saga. Because if we wanted to do entire Namek Saga, you have to do What Ifs. Or it would be like Piccolo versus Second Form Frieza, which most people wouldn't really be excited for.
Yeah.
That's
and
like a
part
New
3
Year's
could be
kind of
Ultimate
celebration.
Gohan and like Kid Buu. Or no, Super Vegeta, my bad. Super Vegeta and Kid Buu.
Super
Or
Vegeta,
whatever.
Kid Buu, or Buhan would be cool too, right?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like, you know, like the Awakenings, like, you know, like First Awakening, Super Saiyan Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Gohan.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, well, yeah, there you go. So that is it for the donos, super chats and everything. So we appreciate you guys for contributing to the episode this week and helping to support the podcast.
And it looks like in the poll, Broly won. So you know what? Maybe I'll throw in the towel. I'll be Broly Worldwide Celebration theme pusher. So I think it's gonna be GT.
Me too.
I think it'd be GT, so. Yeah. But
you know, the more I do think about it, I think Broly Saga would be just so cool because we do need updated Father Son Kamehameha.
Yeah.
Like the family Kamehameha is what I should say.
Yep.
We do need the fist punch Goku. Like him not being represented in the game.
Come on, like that is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the Go Bros that we have in the game now. They have like, the trio Kamehameha, but it's like from that weird like face on them like perspective. Yeah. Whereas obviously in the movie, it's that cool like side on where it's all blue because of like the Kamehameha energy. And it's like the 3 of them all like side by side. Like I want that in like current Dokkan animations. Like that'd be awesome.
I'm honestly, unfortunately, my thought for Broly is like a Tanabata next year because the thing about these Tanabata characters is that a lot of them is like with the idea of teamwork or lending energy, just like how Full Power Goku was there. I'm thinking like a Super Saiyan Goku that like gets the energy
from everyone,
right?
But don't maybe wait a whole nother year, man, please.
I don't want to.
Yeah, because we want that Tech LR Broly Easy
like,
as well.
Oh my god, yeah, bro.
Like his Easy is just sitting there. It's so odd. Yeah. They'll Easy him sooner than later. They have to, right? He's like just sitting there. It's really weird.
Oh, but I guess if worldwide is GT, that means Legic has to be coming, right?
Yeah,
that's fire. Exactly. Actually, that's fire. Yeah. That's so fire. Actually,
true. Dokkan Fest exclusive Legic. Let's go.
Oh, I'm rainbowing that guy. The moment Legic is announced, I'm rainbowing. I don't care. Yep.
Let's go. Yeah, because Legic is gonna be sick. He's good. He would be part of the GT Boss's boss rush. The first stage of the GT Boss's boss rush.
If he becomes another boss in the game, like you have to throw on purpose for the video.
No, I can't do that. If I do that, I might as well hang in the towel, man. I can't lose again.
You have to redeem yourself.
I can't lose again.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna be you. This would be you truly redeeming yourself.
Do you realize how much like more publicity you would get though? Like
if I lost quote unquote by accident.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a Dokkan event or something, I got clapped or something. Yeah.
That'd be funny. It's like he has for like 4. Like it's gonna be impossible if you go with a good team. Like how do you lose? like genuinely, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
anyways.
maybe I throw on purpose. Yeah, we'll see.
Well,
Bro, I'm
yeah.
saying, listen,
Or
as
it's like
your
UI Goku doesn't dodge.
listen, as your marketing executive, I think it'd be good for business. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
For business, you think so?
I think so. I think
I had to
so.
make it short on it, easy short views. Okay.
Shorts, videos, then people will talk about you even more with Logic. I don't know.
Mr. Baby W, or should I say Mr. Logic W?
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, that is wrapping up the Slot One Super Podcast, episode 45, the 9th anniversary special edition. I want to thank you all for tuning in, hopping in, everything like that. Before you leave, feel free to go ahead and leave a final like on the stream if you haven't already. That'd be pretty cool. But that is it from me, Mr. Baby, Ningen, and Dokkan Assets. And got you guys all next week.
See ya.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Have a good one.
It's Merry Christmas, guys. Come on.
Merry Christmas. Yeah.